Chapter 1231. All right. Then you better catch it. Wang Liujuan's eyes shone with a sharp light. It was as beautiful as the dazzling sword light. Clang! The ancient blue sword floated above her head in an instant. Rays of sword chi spread out, forming a vast sea of sword chi behind her. Endless sword chi surged and rose, containing an incomparably terrifying power. Ling Xiao could feel that the ancient blue sword seemed to have turned into a vast sea. It contained waves and waves of unparalleled power. There was no end to it. The law of the sea, and it has been cultivated to the minor accomplishment realm? Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly. He could not help but exclaim. The divine path cultivated the power of the law and comprehended the vast heaven and earth to perfect one's own small world. However, most of the godly state experts had only touched the surface of the power of the law. Once the power of the law was cultivated to the minor accomplishment realm, it could double one's combat strength. The power of the law was cultivated to the great accomplishment realm, and it could triple one's combat strength. The power of the law was cultivated to the great accomplishment realm, and it could reach the limit of 9 times combat strength. However, it was not easy to cultivate the power of the law to the great accomplishment realm. Generally speaking, a heavenly god could cultivate the power of the law to the minor accomplishment realm. A divine king could cultivate the power of the law to the great accomplishment realm. In order to reach the great accomplishment realm, one needed not only cultivation but also opportunity. Wang Liujuan's sword strike contained the laws of the ocean, and it allowed her sword strike to possess practically boundless strength. If an ordinary person wanted to take this sword head-on, they would be instantly drowned by the endless sword chi. Buzz! The sword vibrated gently and slowly moved towards Ling Xiao. However, to an outsider, it looked like an unstoppable wave that was crazily rushing towards Ling Xiao. This little girl's swordsmanship is very strong. She looks good, but her temper is a little too fiery. I can't bear it. Brother Long, you're on your own now. Yi Liangchen could not help but exclaim. He retreated far away, and there was a hint of gloating in his eyes. He seemed to be full of confidence in Ling Xiao. Although the sword was very strong, he also believed that Ling Xiao had a way to block it. Blue Sea Sword Technique, 9 Waves. Wang Lujun shouted in a low voice. Her eyes became extremely serious. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, closed his eyes. The sky-devouring sword appeared in his hand with a flash of light. It emitted a cheerful hum, and he immediately felt a connection with it. Ling Xiao recalled the destruction sword way that Dugu Qiubai had taught him. He immediately became extremely cold and radiated with a monstrous killing intent. The devouring heaven sword stabbed forward. Boom! It was as if the entire world had turned into darkness. Boundless destructive divine light surged and transformed into the purest sword chi that slashed forward. Ling Xiao had only casually swung his sword. He wanted to display the charm of that sword, giving it a sense of immortality. Rumble. When the two swords clashed, the sword chi instantly exploded. The void trembled, and endless darkness enveloped the area. Wang Liujuan's 9 heavy waves actually exploded like a piece of paper. The heaven-devouring sword was still moving forward, as if nothing could stop it. What? Wang Liujuan's expression changed drastically. She did not expect Ling Xiao's casual sword to be so terrifying. Not only did it destroy the traces of the 9 heavy waves, but it also slashed toward her unstoppably. She felt a sense of fatal danger in her heart. 100 heavy waves. Wang Lujun clenched her teeth and shouted. The divine power around her rose, and the ancient blue sword in her hand shone brightly. Her aura became stronger, and she gathered sword chi that blotted out the sky and slashed forward. Speaking of which, this was already the second slash. However, Wang Lujun had no other choice. She felt that if she did not resist, she would very likely die under Ling Xiao's sword. Therefore, even the 100-layered waves that she was still not familiar with was instantly mastered at this moment of life and death. She slashed towards Ling Xiao with her strongest sword strike. Boom! The blue sword chi rose, but when it came into contact with the black destructive sword chi, it instantly turned into nothingness. Even the 100 heavy waves could not withstand Ling Xiao's sword. The endless sword light turned into dust. The cold sword chi also shot toward Wang Liujuan's forehead. Forget it, Wang Liujun sighed softly, and a trace of misery appeared in her eyes. A sense of helplessness welled up in her heart, and she could not help but close her eyes. You've lost. The sky-devouring sword stopped at Wang Liujuan's forehead, and at the same time, Ling Xiao's calm voice sounded. Why didn't you kill me? Wang Liujun opened her eyes and looked at the white-robed young man in front of her with a complicated expression. Miss, you're being too serious. It was my friend who offended you. I am extremely grateful that you were willing to forgive him. How would I dare to kill you? Ling Xiao put away the sky-devouring sword and smiled. However, Ling Xiao was complaining in his heart. This time, he had really gone overboard in showing off. He had been concentrating on visualizing the destruction sword principle that Dugu Qiubai had imparted to him. He had wanted to make Wang Liujun retreat when he slashed with that sword. However, he did not expect the destruction sword principle to be worthy of its name as a sage's power. Even though Ling Xiao had only used a tiny bit of it, it had almost drained half of his energy. At this moment, if Wang Liujun wanted to kill him, he would have no choice but to run for his life. The power of the sword was so terrifying that Wang Liujun did not even have the strength to resist it. All right. Let's forget about the grudge between us. What sword skill did you use just now? Wang Liujun was very straightforward, and she admitted defeat. At the same time, she was very curious about the sword skill that Ling Xiao had used. Her 100 waves could not block that sword, and she felt that even if she used 1,000 waves, she might not be able to defeat Ling Xiao. That is a sword skill created by a friend of mine. I don't know the name of it either. May I know your name, miss? Ling Xiao chuckled and asked curiously. Wang Liujuan's combat power was so strong that she was probably not a nobody. However, what Ling Xiao did not notice was that Yu Yangchen was shocked by Ling Xiao's sword. He could not help but mumble to himself, that was a sage's sword. It's so similar to the old man's aura. Oh my god, who is this Long Outyan? Could he be the son of a sage? I am Wang Liujun, and I am from Jade Sea City. Wang Liujun smiled and said. Wang Liujun. You are the Lingbo fairy Wang Liujun. The Wang Liujun who is ranked 4th on the rankings and has cultivated the Jade Sea sword art. Chapter 1232. The Lingbo fairy, Wang Liujun, and the Gusha fairy, Qing Ting, were the two most eye-catching prodigies in the Great Void Trials. The Lingbo fairy, Wang Liujun, was the apple of the Wang family's eye. Legend had it that the Wang family's ancestor once had a saint, who left behind the Jade Sea sword art, a half-sage martial art. However, some people said that the Jade Sea sword art was actually a saint martial art. It was only a half-sage martial art because it was incomplete. Wang Liujun was the successor of the Jade Sea sword art. She had the saint bloodline and was extremely powerful. Ling Xiao was also a little surprised. When she saw Wang Liujun ranked 4th on the scoreboard, she couldn't help but exclaim. If there isn't a second Wang Liujun, then it will be me. Wang Liujun said calmly. She didn't give Yu Yangchen any face. When she saw Yu Yangchen, it was as if she was reminded of the unbearable scene from before. She couldn't wait to poke a few holes in Yu Yangchen's body with her sword. Brother Yi, do you know where Xiaoya is? The Great Void's secret realm is filled with danger. We should hurry and meet up with her. Ling Xiao looked at Yu Yangchen and asked. Xiaoya, don't worry. She's fine. After the two of us entered the Great Void's secret realm, we met up and found a divine spring. Xiaoya is currently cultivating in that divine spring. I'll take you there now. Yu Yangchen said with a smile. Divine spring? How much is there? That's a good place. Why aren't you cultivating there? Ling Xiao said with a little surprise. Even Wang Liujuan's eyes lit up. The divine spring was formed when the divine spiritual qi was extremely dense. If one cultivated in the divine spring, it would be 100 or 1,000 times better than simply absorbing the divine stones. Although the divine spring was not as precious as the saint liquid, it was far more valuable than the divine stones. Perhaps divine king experts wouldn't be interested in the divine spring. However, for experts below the divine king realm, the divine spring was extremely attractive. Yi Liangchen said indifferently, "The divine spring isn't big. It's about 10 feet wide and 3 feet tall. I'm too lazy to cultivate, so I let Xiaoya cultivate there by herself. 10 feet wide and 3 feet tall. Isn't it big?" Before Ling Xiao could say anything, Wang Lujun widened her eyes and looked at Yi Liangchen with disdain. There should be at least millions of drops of divine spring water with a radius of 1 foot and a height of 3 feet, right? Such a large amount of divine spring water would have taken hundreds of thousands of years to form. Although a drop of divine spring water could not compare to the sacred liquid, millions of drops of divine spring water were far more valuable than the sacred liquid. No wonder even Wang Lujun was tempted. "Where is Xiaoya? Let's go look for her now." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he spoke decisively. The temptation of the divine spring was unimaginable. If the trial takers or talisman humans discovered it, Xiaoya would be in danger. "Alright, Xiaoya is in a valley about 30,000 li away from here. Let's go." Yap nodded. He understood Ling Xiao's concern. At this moment, Wang Lujun suddenly asked, "Brother Long, can I form a team with you? The Great Void Mystic Realm is fraught with danger. The more people we have, the more power we will have." "Of course. Ha, Lujun, I will protect you." Yap Liangchen was overjoyed and immediately agreed to it. The corner of Wang Liujuan's mouth twitched and her forehead was filled with black lines. However, she suppressed her anger and turned away from Yap Liangchen. She was afraid that she would not be able to control herself and kill Yap Liangchen. "Sure, it will be our pleasure," Ling Xiao said with a smile. He knew that Wang Lujun was probably interested in the divine spring as well. However, Wang Lujun was indeed powerful. Among the hundreds of thousands of people, she could be ranked in the top 10. With such an expert around, it would be a great help. As for the divine spring, it would not be a problem for him to share some of it with her. Swoosh! 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 The three of them shot up into the sky and flew towards the valley where the divine spring was under Yap Liangchen's lead. Their speed was extremely fast, and they flew through the air like 3 resplendent divine rainbows. After a few hours, they saw a lush valley in front of them. White mist curled up in spirals, and auspicious qi pervaded the air. It appeared extremely extraordinary. Ling Zhao's face was filled with worry. The strange phenomenon in the valley could be seen from afar. If someone else passed by, they would be able to tell that there were treasures in the valley. "Let's go." Ling Xiao took the lead and shot towards the valley like a golden lightning bolt. In the depths of the mountain valley, ancient trees towered into the skies. Strange and rugged rocks littered the ground, and all sorts of rare and precious herbs grew everywhere. In an ancient cave, there was a divine spring that was shrouded in white mist. It was only 10 feet in radius, but the divine spring water was crystal clear, like nectar. It exuded boundless energy fluctuations. Fengye held the ancient Yuanshuang sword in her hand and stood in front of the divine spring. Her eyes were filled with coldness and anger. In front of her, there were more than 10 divine spirit experts. All of them had a mocking look on their faces as if they were cats catching a mouse. The 2 people at the head of the dozen or so deities were a young man and woman. The man was dressed in a long green robe and looked extraordinarily valiant. The woman was dressed in a long purple dress and looked extremely pretty. Their faces were filled with cold arrogance as they looked down at Fengye in front of them. "Miss, hand over the divine spring and all your points. We will allow you to crush the Great Void token and leave this place. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite," the green-robed man said indifferently. Everyone looked at the divine spring behind Fengya. Their eyes were filled with passion and greed. This pool of divine spring was enough for all of them to raise their cultivation by a small level. It would save them 100 years of hard work. There was even a lot left. How could they not be excited? Don't even think about it. If you want the divine spring, then try the sword in my hand first. Fengya said coldly. Her eyes were filled with anger. She had just cultivated in the divine spring for a day when a group of uninvited guests barged in and wanted to snatch the divine spring. Although most of the challengers were only at the early stage of the divine spirit realm, the man and woman in front of her had already reached the late stage of the divine spirit realm. Fengya was 2 small levels lower than them. Although she had the Yuanshuang sword in her hand, she did not have much confidence. You're right. Also, hand over the sword in your hand. You're only at the early stage of the divine spirit realm. Are you worthy of using a divine king weapon? The woman in the purple dress sneered. Her eyes revealed a hint of jealousy and hostility. The woman in white in front of her looked beautiful and had an extraordinary temperament. It made her feel ashamed of her inferiority. Even the surrounding people's eyes were filled with a burning light. Chapter 1233. The man in the green robe smiled faintly and said confidently, Miss, you are no match for us. Give up. As long as you agree to our conditions, you can leave now. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. He was using his words to provoke Fengya, and at the same time, he was looking for a flaw in Fengya's body. He wanted to subdue Fengya with one blow. After all, the power of a godly king weapon was unparalleled. Even the two of them did not dare to take it head-on. Be rude? How are you going to be rude? At that moment, a calm and indifferent voice resounded in the cave. Who is that? The man in the green robe and the woman in the purple dress were shocked. They did not realize that someone had approached them. Instantly, a bad feeling arose in their hearts. Boom! However, what answered them was a golden fist print. It contained a terrifying power, and it suddenly pressed down on the man in the green robe and the woman in the purple dress. In the dazzling divine light, a young man in a white robe flew across the sky. His eyes were filled with a cold radiance. Brother Long. Fengya's eyes were filled with surprise. The man in the green robe and the woman in the purple dress felt a numbing power from the punch. They roared and activated all the divine power in their bodies and punched towards Ling Xiao. Bang! The void shook and even the cave was shaking violently as if it was going to collapse at any time. The man in the green robe and the woman in the purple dress were sent flying by Ling Xiao's punch. Their bodies slammed heavily on the mountain wall and they spat out a mouthful of blood. Instantly, their auras became extremely weak. Who are you? We are His Highness Xiong Ba's men. How dare you attack us? Do you want to be His Highness Xiong Ba's enemy? The man in the green robe roared angrily. There was a trace of fear in his eyes. His Highness Xiong Ba. I don't know him. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He did not even look at the man in the green robe. Instead, he walked to Fengya and asked, Little Ya, are you all right? I'm fine. Thank you, Brother Long. Fengya smiled gently. At that moment, Yi Liangchen and Wang Lujun arrived. Xiong Ba's men. Was he the prince of the Sky Tyrant Divine Kingdom who ranked first? He, not to mention that you are only his subordinates, even if Xiong Ba came, he wouldn't be able to save you. Yi Liangchen asked in surprise. Then, he looked at the man in the green robe and the woman in the purple dress with evil intentions. Xiong Ba's name could be said to have shaken the entire Great Void secret world. The trial had only been going on for 3 days and he had already obtained close to 100,000 points, placing him at the top of the rankings. It was said that His Highness Xiong Ba had the Sky Tyrant divine body, and his strength was unparalleled. Moreover, he was extremely overbearing and protective. Xiong Ba's men. Wang Lujun also frowned slightly. She was very familiar with Xiong Ba and naturally knew how strong and terrifying he was. You are. Fairy Lingbo. Fairy Lingbo, save us. You are His Highness Xiongba's fiancé. Quickly help us kill these maniacs. When the purple-dressed woman saw Wang Lujun, her eyes immediately revealed a look of ecstasy, and she hurriedly said loudly, I have nothing to do with Xiongba. If you dare to speak nonsense again, do you believe that I will cut off your tongue? Wang Liujuan's face instantly turned cold as she stared at the purple-dressed woman and said. The purple-dressed woman's body trembled. Under Wang Liujuan's sharp gaze, she couldn't help but lower her head. However, there was a trace of hidden hatred in her eyes. Lu Jun, luckily you are not Xiongba's fiancé. Otherwise, I would really be sad. Yi Liangchen heaved a sigh of relief and said to Wang Lujun with a smile. He was even thick-skinned to the extreme. His voice was so intimate that it made Wang Lujun feel goosebumps all over her body. Scram! Wang Lujun couldn't help but glare fiercely at Yi Liangchen. She couldn't help but curse. Ling Xiao stared at the man in the green robe and the woman in the purple dress and said, You should be glad that Xiaoyu wasn't hurt at all. Otherwise, you would all be dead by now. Although Ling Xiao's voice was calm, there was a bone-chilling coldness, causing everyone to involuntarily shiver. The man in the green robe's face was extremely ugly. He stared at Ling Xiao and said, Do you really want to be enemies with His Highness Xiongba? Anyone who offended His Highness Xiongba is already dead. Looks like you still haven't seen the reality. Ling Xiao sighed lightly. Then, his eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. Slap. He threw out a slap. Instantly, a crisp sound rang out. The man in the green robe was directly sent flying. Half of his face was swollen, and his flesh was badly mutilated. Bastard! His Highness Xiongba won't let you go. You will die without a doubt. The man in the green robe was about to go crazy. His eyes were filled with incomparable resentment. He admitted that Ling Xiao's battle strength was very strong. He didn't even have the slightest bit of strength to fight back. However, Ling Xiao's cultivation was merely at the middle stage of the divine spirit realm. How dare he not put His Highness Xiongba in his eyes? Where did he get his confidence from? Oh, you're not convinced, huh? Looks like you're still asking for a beating. Yi Liangchen sneered. He copied Ling Xiao and threw out a slap. Instantly, the other half of the man in the green robe's face became swollen. Although the man in the green robe's eyes were filled with resentment, he didn't dare to say any more vicious words. Everyone else was silent like cicadas in winter. Now, hand over all your points, divine stones, divine herbs, and treasures. Then, I can spare your lives and let you leave this place. Ling Xiao said indifferently. If you don't hand them over, then die. Yap Liangchen pretended to be ferocious as he spoke. However, his appearance was originally very ugly, but he wasn't fierce. At this moment, he looked very funny. All right. We'll hand them over. The man in the green robe and the woman in the purple dress looked at each other. In the end, they gritted their teeth and agreed. They couldn't count on Fairy Lingbo. She might even be in the same group as these two in front of them. However, since Ling Xiao agreed to let them go, they knew that a wise man wouldn't fight when the odds were against him. As long as they could find His Highness Xiongba, they would ask His Highness Xiongba to take action. They would make these two bastards pay with interest. The dozen of them didn't have many points. They only had a few thousand points. Ling Xiao asked them to transfer all their points to Fengya. However, they had a lot of divine stones and herbs. There were tens of millions of divine stones, hundreds of divine herbs, dozens of low-grade divine herbs, and even a piece of colored glazed divine metal that could be used to refine divine treasures. Unfortunately, it was too little. It was only the size of a fist. Now, can we leave? The man in the green robe gritted his teeth and said. He felt that his heart was bleeding. The points were fine. However, the various divine stones and treasures were all plundered by them in the Great Void's secret realm. Now, They were all taken away by Ling Xiao. It was really like trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. They didn't manage to get the holy spring. Instead, they were robbed by these two malefactors. Get lost. Tell your master that my name is Long Outyan. If he wants to take revenge, he can come. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He didn't even look at them. Anyway, these guys were just small fries in Ling Xiao's eyes. The man in the green robe looked at Ling Xiao deeply. It was as if he wanted to remember Ling Xiao's appearance. Then, he turned around and left with the rest. Wang Lujun asked curiously, Brother Long, why did you let them go? Why don't you let them crush the Great Void token and eliminate them? This way, they won't tell Xiong Ba and he won't come looking for trouble. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, I want Xiong Ba to come looking for trouble. Coincidentally, my points are still at the bottom. Killing those talisman men and talisman beasts is boring. Robbing these rich people is the fastest way to get points. If I can rob Xiong Ba, that will be the most exciting thing. Ha! Brother Long, you are right. Let Xiong Ba show off. So what if he is first in the rankings? We will rob him directly. When Yi Liangshan heard Ling Xiao's words, his eyes lit up and he laughed loudly. Chapter 1234. The reason why Ling Xiao let the green-robed man and the purple-dressed woman leave instead of eliminating them was so that they could report back to Xiong Ba. Xiong Ba was currently at the top of the rankings. In Ling Xiao's eyes, he was simply a money grubber. As long as he defeated Xiong Ba, wouldn't it be great to snatch his points? Ling Xiao also recalled that when the 6 gods descended, one of them was a true god expert from the divine kingdom of Sky Tyrant. The divine kingdom of Sky Tyrant coveted the wordless heavenly book and would probably become Ling Xiao's enemy in the future. Hence, he wouldn't feel any burden if he snatched Xiong Ba's points. Snatch Xiong Ba. Wang Lujun was shocked by Ling Xiao's idea. She tactfully advised, Brother Long, your battle strength is indeed very strong. However, Xiong Ba's strength is extremely strong. Among the hundreds of thousands of participants, his strength is at least in the top 3. There are even people who believe that he is destined to be the champion of this great void trial. He has the Overlord divine body and is a madman. If you rashly challenge him, I'm afraid it's not a wise move. Obviously, even Wang Lujun believed that Ling Xiao wasn't Xiong Ba's opponent. Wang Lujun was very familiar with Xiong Ba and naturally knew how strong Xiong Ba's battle strength was. In her eyes, although Ling Xiao's sword had defeated her, Ling Xiao's cultivation was his weakness. After all, Ling Xiao's cultivation was only at the middle stage of the divine spirit realm. His true battle strength was probably similar to hers. However, Xiong Ba's strength far surpassed hers. Is he very strong? Wouldn't it be more fun if that was the case? If he's too weak, it would be too disappointing. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Wang Lujun smiled bitterly and shook her head. However, seeing that Ling Xiao had already made his decision, she couldn't persuade him anymore. Brother Long, the divine spring here contains extremely pure and boundless energy. It's enough for the 4 of us to cultivate together. Why don't we cultivate here for a period of time? Feng Ye looked at Ling Xiao and asked. Although Feng Ye had only cultivated in the divine spring for a day, she had already experienced the wonders of the divine spring. She had already completely stabilized her divine spirit realm cultivation and was breaking through to the middle stage of the divine spirit realm. The speed of cultivation in the divine spring was 100 times faster than the outside world. Alright. Let's cultivate here for the next few days. Ling Xiao also agreed with a faint smile. His cultivation had already reached the peak of the middle stage of the divine spirit realm, and it just so happened that he could borrow the power of the divine spring to break through. Yi Liangshan and Wang Lujun naturally had no objections. Ling Xiao set up a simple concealment array in the cave, concealing the phenomenon of the divine spring so that no one would notice any flaws and come in to affect their cultivation. Then, the 4 of them sat at the 4 corners of the divine spring and began to absorb the boundless divine power from the divine spring. They entered a state of cultivation. Rumble. Ling Xiao shone with a dazzling golden light. His skin was like glass, and tiny golden vortices formed on the surface of his skin, constantly devouring the power of the spring. Boundless divine power poured into his body and began to cleanse his physical body. It flowed through his meridians and finally turned into boundless divine power that flowed into his small world. The cultivation of a deity realm powerhouse was still the cultivation of a small world. When a deity realm powerhouse comprehended the laws of heaven and earth, it was like evolving the power of the laws of heaven and earth in a small world. When a deity realm powerhouse refined divine power, it was like a small world that needed energy to continuously evolve and expand. Hence, divine power and laws were indispensable. Ling Xiao's cultivation had already reached the peak of the middle stage of the divine spirit realm. After devouring the power of the divine spring, he was rapidly breaking through to the late stage of the divine spirit realm. After the green-robed young man and the purple-robed woman left, they quickly found Xiong Ba and told him everything that had happened. Xiong Ba was an extremely valiant and muscular young man. He had short hair and his entire body emitted a dark golden light. His muscles were firm and there was an explosive power flowing within them. He wore a black outfit and his entire body looked incomparably vigorous and wild. His eyes were filled with an aggressive light, causing people who looked at him to tremble and lower their heads, not daring to look him in the eyes. "How dare you hit my subordinate and steal my woman? Long Outyen deserves to die." Xiong Ba's cold words quickly spread throughout the training grounds. Xiong Ba could be said to be the focus of attention. He was ranked first on the rankings and he already had over 100,000 points. He had 20,000 points more than the second place. There were even people who thought that Xiong Ba deserved to be the champion. Hence, his every action would attract the attention of the crowd. When the crowd heard his words, they were all stunned. Who was that Long Outyen guy? He actually dared to touch His Highness Xiong Ba's people. He was simply courting death. Have you heard? 2 of His Highness Xiong Ba's subordinates were beaten up by a guy called Long Outyen. Not only did he steal all of their points and treasures, he even said that he wanted to fight His Highness Xiong Ba. Who is Long Outyen? He's actually so fierce. There isn't such a person in the top 100 of the rankings. Could it be that he was a hidden genius? He actually dared to challenge His Highness Xiong Ba. You won't believe it. I heard that Long Outyen's cultivation is only at the divine spirit realm. At most, he's at the late stage of the divine spirit realm. He's weaker than me and he actually dares to challenge His Highness Xiong Ba. He's really courting death. Beating up His Highness Xiong Ba's subordinates is nothing. But do you know what angered His Highness Xiong Ba the most? Lingbo Fairy Wang Lujun. I heard that Long Outyen actually kidnapped Lingbo Fairy Wang Lujun. Oh my god, he's too powerful. This Long Outyen is simply courting death. But I really admire him. He actually managed to seduce one of the 2 beauties, Lingbo Fairy Wang Lujun. I heard that His Highness Xiong Ba is looking for him everywhere. This guy is definitely dead. Let's go and see where that Long Outyen guy is. If we can capture him and present him to His Highness Xiong Ba, we'll be rich. Long Outyen's name instantly became everyone's topic of discussion. There were even people who took the initiative to look for Long Outyen's whereabouts. However, it was a pity that Long Outyen and Lingbo Fairy Wang Lujun seemed to have disappeared. Close to a month had passed and no one had found any news about them. In the training ground, there was a lake that stretched as far as the eye could see. It looked like the blue waves were being washed and it was as calm as a mirror. In the middle of the lake, there was an ancient and majestic mountain. It was shrouded in clouds and mist. Auspicious chi filled the air and it looked peaceful and ethereal. Chapter 1235. Realm Heart Lake, Tortoise Form Mountain. Looks like it's here. Peach Blossom Prince Lu Wenqing muttered to himself. His face was filled with excitement. He was wearing an ancient-looking armor. It was pitch black, and there were golden patterns on it. At this moment, it was enshrouded in a faint light. There seemed to be patterns flashing within it. It looked very similar to the scene in front of them. That armor was naturally the black tortoise divine armor that he had bought at the auction. It was his father who had unintentionally seen the secret within the black tortoise divine armor. Hence, they were willing to pay any price to obtain the black tortoise divine armor for the sake of the secret within. Legend had it that the black tortoise divine armor contained the inheritance treasure of the black tortoise sage. As long as one could obtain the black tortoise divine armor, they would have the chance to obtain the inheritance of the black tortoise sage. And now, after seeing the realm Heart Lake and Tortoise Form Mountain in front of him, Lu Wenqing was even more certain that this was the location of the black tortoise sage's inheritance. According to the information obtained by father and big brother, the realm Heart Lake and Tortoise Form Mountain are actually a super large array. It will only activate once every 1,000 years when the heavenly dog devours the sun. This time, I must grab hold of this opportunity. Lu Wenqing's eyes were filled with excitement. 1,000 years ago, when his big brother participated in the Great Void Trials, he had unintentionally discovered the phenomenon of the heavenly dog devouring the sun. He had also seen the mysterious passage between the realm Heart Lake and Tortoise Form Mountain. After that, his big brother entered Aries College. After reading countless ancient books, he finally discovered that in ancient times, a black tortoise sage had fallen here. After that, his big brother had painstakingly obtained the news of the black tortoise divine armor. Hence, he had told Lu Wenqing about it in hopes that he would be able to obtain the inheritance and treasures of the black tortoise sage during the Great Void Trials. One had to know that the inheritance and treasures of a sage were something that even the 5 great colleges would crazily rush over to snatch if they knew about it. Thinking that he was about to obtain the inheritance of a sage, Lu Wenqing's heart was filled with excitement. If I'm not wrong, there's only about a month left before the heavenly dog devours the sun. I must grab hold of this opportunity. Lu Wenqing took a deep breath and leaped into the air. He flew toward the mountain in the center of the lake. This place was deserted. Even if there were talisman beasts, Lu Wenqing would try his best to hide his aura and not alarm any talisman beasts. He only hoped to be able to completely open the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance land. Boom! In the valley, a powerful aura spread out. It was majestic and mysterious, containing a wave that made the world tremble. Ling Zhao's entire body shone with a golden light. Auspicious qi filled the air. His body looked like it was made of gold. At the same time, it exuded a flawless luster. It was extremely mysterious. His cultivation had also broken through to the late stage of the divine spirit realm. At the same time, as if it was affected by Ling Zhao's breakthrough, the boundless energy in the divine spring surged toward Fengye and Yiliangchen. Their cultivation had finally broken through to the middle stage of the divine spirit realm. Only Wang Lujun was still in the early stage of the true god realm. It was just that her cultivation base had become more stable. After all, even with the help of the Holy Spring, it was not enough for Wang Lujun to break through in such a short period of time. Ha ha ha. I've finally broken through. Brother Long, we should go and settle the score with Xiongba now, right? In this 1 month, that guy's points have reached 310,000. He's really a fat sheep. Yi Liangchen also laughed out loud. His eyes were filled with eagerness to give it a try. He was able to sit here and cultivate peacefully for an entire month. With his personality, it was already extremely rare. Hence, the first thing he did after breaking through was to check on Xiongba's points. Yap Liangchen was shocked. Xiongba's points had reached a terrifying 310,000, and he was still ranked first on the leaderboard. As for Wang Lujun, because of her cultivation, she had already fallen below the top 100. This fat sheep, Xiongba, was completely fattened up. That's right. I think those 2 fellows must have already passed on my message. Let's go and find Xiongba now and snatch all his points. Ling Zhao also smiled slightly. A strong fighting spirit could be seen in his eyes. He was not only interested in the points in Xiongba's hands. According to the information he obtained from Xiongba's subordinates, Xiongba had already destroyed many talisman tribes. The talismans that the talisman tribes gave him were the treasures that Ling Xiao wanted the most. As long as he could obtain those talismans, the talisman in Ling Xiao's hands would become more complete and reveal the secrets within. Brother Long, you still have to be careful. Xiong Ba's fighting strength is very strong and he has many trump cards. Don't be careless. Wang Lujun also exhorted seriously. Although she wanted Ling Xiao to defeat Xiong Ba and teach him a lesson, she naturally knew how terrifying Xiong Ba's strength was. Don't worry, I won't underestimate him. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. In a month's time, the four of them had completely devoured the god spring. Of course, most of it was refined by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's accumulation was too strong. The difficulty of breaking through was 10 times or even 100 times more than others. Naturally, the amount of resources he needed was also incomparably large. They left the cave and began to search for Xiong Ba's whereabouts. However, what surprised Ling Xiao and Yu Yangchen was that after they met a few groups of challengers, the challengers' eyes lit up. It was as if they had found a treasure. All of them charged towards Ling Xiao and Yu Yangchen without caring about their lives. After defeating the trial takers who had attacked them, they finally learned some news. Bastard! We haven't even found Xiong Ba and he dares to put a bounty on us. Yu Yangchen was so angry that he laughed. It turned out that Xiong Ba had placed a bounty on anyone who could kill Long Outyen. As for those who could capture Long Outyen alive, not only would they be rewarded with a drop of holy liquid, they would also be rewarded with 20,000 points. Therefore, when those challengers saw Ling Xiao, they went crazy and wanted to capture Ling Xiao. However, they were blinded by greed and did not know how strong they were. In the end, they were all defeated by Ling Xiao and Yu Yangchen. Ling Xiao naturally did not hold back against these challengers. After squeezing out all their points, he directly shattered their Great Void token and eliminated them. I heard from them that Xiong Ba has actually built Xiong Ba City. Interesting. It seems like we should go and take a look at that so-called Xiong Ba City. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he laughed coldly. It turned out that after Xiong Ba massacred a tribe of talismans, he used the tribe as a foundation and built Xiong Ba City. He also called for all the experts who entered the Great Void's secret realm to join in and trade. Chapter 1236. Who's there? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked towards a certain spot in the void. Then, he punched out. Boom! The golden fist imprint exploded, containing an indestructible divine force. A black shadow flashed through the void and instantly dodged Ling Xiao's punch. Hee hee. As expected of someone who dares to challenge Xiong Ba. You're Long Outyen, right? Late-stage divine spirit realm, actually having the battle prowess of a true god. You're indeed a genius. However, I'm afraid that you're still not enough to challenge Xiong Ba. A bell-like laughter resounded in the void. The black shadow instantly landed on an ancient tree in front of Ling Xiao. It was a woman in a black dress. She looked very tall and had an extremely hot figure. Her skin was snow-white and translucent. Her face looked exquisite and flawless. When she smiled, there was a kind of seductive charm that could steal one's soul. People couldn't help but be immersed in it. She held an extremely delicate and small bow in her hand. There was a long silver arrow on it. It flowed with a beautiful light, as if there were bright runes flickering on it. When Wang Lujun saw the woman in the black dress, her expression changed. She said with a little vigilance, "Qing Ting. Why are you here?" She recognized at a glance that the woman in the black dress in front of her was her old rival, Fairy Gu Shi, Qing Ting. Fairy Gu Shi of Binshui City and Fairy Ling Bo of Jade Sea City were known as the twin peerless beauties. Moreover, they were extremely talented and were known to have the potential to become a saint. They were also popular candidates for the Great Void trials this time. It was just that the two of them could be said to have known each other since they were young. However, they didn't get along with each other. The two of them fought openly and secretly, competing with each other. Therefore, there was a very deep enmity between them. "My good sister, I didn't expect that after not seeing each other for a few days, you found me a good brother-in-law. This Long Outyen is my good brother-in-law, right? I also like this brother-in-law. Why don't you give him to me? Cheng Ting chuckled. Her big eyes were filled with a pitiful look. Thousands of emotions flowed within them. Yi Liangqin's eyes widened immediately. Cheng Ting. You little whore, if you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll tear your mouth apart. Wang Liujuan's face was ashen as she glared at Cheng Ting. The blue ancient sword was instantly unsheathed and floated above her head, emitting a sharp sword aura that locked onto Cheng Ting. Ling Xiao was also somewhat speechless. Fairy Gusha, Cheng Ting, who was currently ranked 4th on the scoreboard, was actually such a weirdo. If it was an ordinary person, they would have been mesmerized by her. However, Ling Xiao could clearly feel that even though Cheng Ting looked delicate and pitiful, under that seductive exterior, there was a cold and arrogant heart. Such a woman was devastatingly beautiful, capable of causing the downfall of a country and its people. Moreover, she was extremely scheming and thought that she could play everyone in the palm of her hand. Therefore, Cheng Ting was much harder to deal with than Wang Lujun. Fairy Gusha, my elder brother is your brother-in-law, how can you snatch your elder sister's man? I'm handsome, confident, and dignified. I possess peerless talent, and I'm destined to be the epic master. Why don't you follow me? Yi Liangqin stared at Cheng Ting and did not hide the passion in his eyes as he spoke confidently. Cheng Ting's face immediately froze, and her white forehead was filled with black lines. Where did this extremely ugly bastard get the confidence to say that he was handsome? Cheng Ting wished she could just kick him and smash that smug face of his into smithereens. Wang Lujun saw that Cheng Ting was defeated, and she was secretly delighted. Cheng Ting resisted the urge to beat Yi Liangqin up. She simply turned her head and ignored him. Then, she took a deep breath and said, Good elder sister, I'm here this time to give you a great opportunity. Do you want it? What great opportunity? Why would you be so kind? Wang Lujun asked cautiously. Her face was filled with disbelief. My good elder sister, you actually doubted me. This is so heartbreaking. Brother-in-law, don't you care about her? Are you interested in the 5-colored divine dragon fruit? Cheng Ting looked at Ling Xiao and Wang Lujun with a hint of resentment. Her eyes revealed a trace of cunning. Originally, Wang Lujun thought that Cheng Ting was just making fun of her. However, when she heard about the 5-colored divine dragon fruit, her face changed immediately. Are you talking about the 5-colored divine dragon fruit? The 5-colored divine dragon fruit, a supreme-grade divine medicine that can evolve a small world? Wang Liujuan's voice rose involuntarily, and her breathing quickened. If it was something else, Wang Lujun might not care about it. However, the 5-colored divine dragon fruit really moved her. The 5-colored divine dragon fruit was a top-grade divine medicine. A top-grade divine medicine was a top-grade treasure that even godly kings valued greatly. The 5-colored divine dragon fruit could allow a godly state expert's small dimension to evolve. It could expand by 2 to 3 times, and it contained an extremely mysterious power of creation. One had to know that the most important thing for a godly state expert was the small dimension in his body. If his small dimension could expand by 2 to 3 times, his strength would naturally increase by 2 to 3 times. On top of that, he would also be able to establish the foundation of the Supreme Tao. His chances of becoming a sage in the future would also be 30% higher than others. How could Wang Lujun not be moved? Not only her, but everyone in the Great Void's secret realm would probably go crazy if they knew about this. That's right. It's the 5-colored divine dragon fruit. Xiongba found a 5-colored divine dragon vine in the great swamp of the west. There were 9 5-colored divine dragon fruits growing on it, and they were about to mature in a few days. Why don't we work together and snatch all the 5-colored divine dragon fruits? Cheng Ting smiled, and her voice was filled with temptation. All right. We agree. While Wang Lujun was still hesitating, Ling Xiao agreed immediately. Ling Xiao was shocked. It was actually the 5-colored divine dragon fruit. This kind of top-grade divine medicine was simply something that could only be encountered by chance. This was because the conditions for the 5-colored divine dragon fruit to grow were extremely harsh. At the very least, it needed the blood essence of a sage dragon race expert to nourish it. Of course, the 5-colored divine dragon fruit could evolve the small dimension. However, Ling Xiao was more interested in the 5-colored divine dragon fruit's effect on the ancestral dragon secret technique. With the 5-colored divine dragon fruit, Ling Xiao could save hundreds of years of cultivation. He might even be able to push his divine dragon body to the Great Perfection realm. Once his divine dragon body reached the Great Perfection realm, Ling Xiao would probably be able to contend against a heavenly god expert with just the strength of his physical body. At that time, Ling Xiao could be said to be able to sweep through the Great Void's secret realm. Furthermore, this kind of opportunity to strengthen himself was too rare. To Ling Xiao, he definitely couldn't let go of it. Chapter 1237. My good brother-in-law, you are indeed capable of great things. Once we snatch the pentacolored divine dragon fruits from Xiongba, your small world will evolve and your cultivation will increase tremendously. We can even beat Xiongba up. It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Qing Ting looked at Ling Xiao in surprise. There was a hint of approval in her eyes. Seeing that Ling Xiao had agreed, Wang Lujun naturally had no objections. She nodded in agreement. We can go with you to snatch the pentacolored divine dragon fruits. However, how are we going to split the 9 fruits? Ling Xiao asked Qing Ting with a smile. This was a very important question. Only when everyone had the same interests would they be able to work together. Moreover, Ling Xiao did not trust this mischievous goddess Gusha. I am the one who provided the information. Therefore, I want 5 of the 9 pentacolored divine dragon fruits. Qing Ting demanded an exorbitant price. Seeing that Qing Ting was being so impolite, Wang Liujuan's face darkened. However, before she could say anything, Yi Yangchen looked at Qing Ting with a smile and said, Goddess Gusha, you are so beautiful. You are as beautiful as a goddess. Qing Ting was stunned. Although she did not know why Yi Yangchen was praising her, she still smiled and said, Ugly man, at least you know your place. Do I need you to tell me whether I am beautiful or not? No, no, no. Goddess Gusha, you misunderstood me. Yi Yangchen shook his head and said, What I meant was, since you are so beautiful, don't think so highly of yourself. After Yi Yangchen said that, Ling Xiao and Wang Lujun could not help but reveal a strange smile on their faces. Yi Yangchen's mouth was too vicious. Qing Ting's expression froze instantly. She gritted her teeth and stared at Yi Yangchen as she shouted, Ugly monster, do you believe that I will kill you right now? She was about to go crazy. Where did this ugly man get the guts to taunt her? If she did not need Wang Lujun and Long Outyan's help, Qing Ting would have killed him already. I don't believe you. Yi Yangchen said seriously, with your weak cultivation, you can't even defeat my brother. How dare you say that you want 5 pentacolored divine dragon fruits? I think that you should be grateful that I'm giving you one. Most importantly, don't you think you're looking down on me? I, Yi Yangchen, am a genius. I am the son of the epoch. I can easily suppress Xiongba. What? I can't beat Long Outyan. You're infuriating me to death. Very well. If that's the case, Long Outyan, let's fight. If you win, I'll listen to you. Qing Ting was about to explode from anger. She didn't know why either. She had always been the one toying with others in the palm of her hand. When had she been led by the nose by others? Whoosh! She immediately turned into a black stream of light and floated in front of Ling Xiao. Divine power rose around her, and the bow in her hand began to emit a sharp light, as if it could pierce through the void. Cough cough. Fairy Gusha, don't lower yourself till Yangchen's level. He didn't mean it. When Ling Xiao saw that Qing Ting was about to go berserk, he instantly knew that if he didn't step in, they would probably really start fighting. He quickly said, however, the distribution plan you mentioned is not fair. After all, there are 4 of us here. Why don't we do it this way? Let's make it simple. The 9 divine 5-colored dragon fruits will belong to whoever manages to snatch them. How does that sound? Ling Xiao didn't believe Qingting, and Qingting naturally didn't believe him. This way, the so-called alliance would be extremely loose. Moreover, when the time came for a war, the result would definitely be like this. As expected, Qingting rolled her eyes and said with a smile, "Deal." From her point of view, she originally wanted to use Long Outyan and Wang Lujun to deal with Xiong Ba so that she could snatch the divine 5-colored dragon fruits. This was the best way. However, she was a little worried. Could Wang Lujun and Long Outyan really deal with Xiong Ba? One had to know that the madman Xiong Ba was extremely powerful. She was also extremely wary of him. However, she didn't have a better idea. Yi Liangqin smiled and didn't say anything. He naturally knew that Qingting was up to no good. However, it was still unknown who would win. Qingting underestimated them. When the time came, she would really cry. Let's go. Qingting immediately soared into the sky and turned into a black divine rainbow as she flew towards the great swamp of the west. Ling Xiao and the other 3 also soared into the sky and followed closely behind. Great Swamp of the West. This was a huge swamp in the Great Void's secret realm. It covered an area of hundreds of thousands of miles. There were many large and small lakes that were distributed in this area like mirrors. Ancient trees towered into the sky and there were few traces of people. This was the paradise of talisman beasts. Many powerful talisman beasts occupied this piece of land. There weren't any huge mountain ranges here. There were only a few small hills and stone forests that could be seen everywhere. This made the environment of this swamp very complicated. On a mountain peak that was only a few hundred feet tall, there was a steep cliff. The cliff was surrounded by clouds and one could vaguely see a 5-colored light flickering within. A tall and sturdy young man in black clothes sat cross-legged on the cliff. His eyes were closed and there was no aura around him. It was as if he was one with the surrounding heaven and earth. The muscles on his body were taut, emitting a dark golden glow. The blood and qi around his body surged like a river. He had a head of short hair, and his entire person looked incomparably wild, filled with an aggressive and explosive power. He was Xiong Ba. In front of him, clouds swirled around. On the cliff, there was a 5-colored divine dragon that was a few hundred feet long. Its dragon scales were resplendent and lifelike. It was swallowing the essence of heaven and earth. That was the rainbow divine dragon vine, and there were 9 fist-sized fruits on it. They flowed with multicolored light, and looked incomparably exquisite, containing some kind of mysterious power. Xiong Ba had been waiting here for almost a month. He was waiting for the day when the 5-colored divine dragon fruit ripened. Because of this, even when his 2 subordinates were beaten up by a kid called Long Outyan, he didn't show himself. He only issued a bounty. At the bottom of the mountain, there were over 100 godly experts. Under the lead of a green-robed man and a purple-robed woman, they looked around cautiously. They were on guard against something. Xiong Ba looks like he's quite cautious. He actually brought so many underlings. Ling Xiao, Yi Liangqin, Feng Ye, Wang Lujun, and Qingting were standing on top of a towering ancient tree in the distance. They were observing the situation at the mountain peak. When they saw the formation of over 100 godly spirit realm experts, even Qingting was astonished. After all, it's the 5-colored divine dragon fruit. No matter how cautious we are, it's never too much. What should we do? Wang Liujuan's eyes revealed a look of anticipation. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he said wisely, "There's no hurry. There's more than the few of us here. I'm afraid those guys can't wait any longer. It's good to let them scout the situation first." Ling Xiao could sense that there were dozens of extremely unfamiliar auras hidden in the surrounding swamps. There were participants of the Great Void stage. There were even talisman men and talisman beasts. He didn't expect the 5-colored divine dragon fruit to attract talisman men and talisman beasts. Chapter 1238. Rumble. A dazzling divine light shot up from the mountain peak and rays of 5-colored light filled the air. A strange fragrance filled the air and caused the surrounding void to tremble slightly. The clouds were misty and there seemed to be a dragon's roar. A mysterious dragon-shaped shadow swam in the clouds and looked extremely mysterious. The 5-colored divine dragon fruit is ripe. Quick, do it. Cheng Ting's body shook and her eyes were filled with joy. She quickly said to Ling Xiao, Wang Lujun, and the rest. Wait. I'm afraid the 5-colored divine dragon fruit is not ripe yet. This is a trap. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and he immediately grabbed Cheng Ting, who was about to leave, and said to her. Trap. Cheng Ting's and Wang Liujuan's eyes revealed traces of shock. That's right. This strange fragrance is not right. The reason why the 5-colored divine dragon fruit can evolve the small world is because it contains the power of the 5 elemental laws. The 5 elemental laws circulate and nurture heaven and earth. That is why the small world can evolve. However, feel it carefully. The strange fragrance is extremely faint and there is no fluctuation of the 5 elemental laws. Hence, I'm guessing that this is a smokescreen that Xiongba released. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said slowly. As soon as he finished speaking, dozens of figures jumped out from the surrounding swamps. Their bodies were branded with mysterious runes and they shouted obscure syllables as they rushed towards the mountain peak. Roar! The deafening roar of a beast shook the sky. In the surrounding swamps, the earth shook and the towering ancient trees trembled. Numerous gigantic symbol beasts, which looked like tigers, leopards, wolves and bears, were similarly attracted by the strange fragrance and rushed towards the mountain peak. Retreat! At that moment, the man in green and the lady in purple had a faint look of mockery in their eyes. It was as though they were not surprised at all as they said the same word. When the hundreds of deities heard the orders of the man in green and the lady in purple, they immediately retreated towards the mountain peak and disappeared into the clouds. Rumble. Clouds and mist surged as the world trembled. Dark golden bolts of lightning actually descended from the mountain. They contained a ripple of energy that could destroy everything, and they instantly enveloped the talisman men and talisman beasts. A resplendent divine light erupted and formed an extremely chaotic domain. The talisman men and talisman beasts trembled violently as if they had been hacked to death by a flurry of blades. Their bodies instantly exploded and turned into a bloody mist. The blood mist gathered and formed a crimson divine rainbow. It instantly flew into the clouds and merged with the divine pentacolor dragon vine. What? It was really a trap. What is Xiongba trying to do? Wang Lujun and Cheng Ting's expressions changed drastically. Looking at everything before them, their eyes were filled with disbelief. That was a few dozen talisman humans and talisman beasts, yet they had all died in an instant. Moreover, their flesh and primordial spirits had fused with the 5-colored divine dragon vine, which gave them a bad feeling. Blood sacrifice divine medicine. This Xiongba is indeed a madman, so vicious. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he sighed softly. Blood sacrifice divine medicine. When Wang Lujun heard these words, her face was instantly filled with disbelief. The so-called blood sacrifice divine medicine was to use the primordial spirits of living beings and even their vitality to refine the divine medicine. Just like the 5-colored divine dragon fruit, it had not fully matured yet. According to Ling Xiao's estimation, it would take at least a few months or even a few years. Xiongba naturally could not wait that long. Hence, he had set up a trap here to lure the talisman men and talisman beasts into taking the bait. He wanted to use their primordial spirits to refine the 5-colored divine dragon vine and accelerate the ripening of the fruit. Xiongba is vicious. Although the blood sacrifice divine medicine can accelerate the ripening of the divine medicine, isn't he afraid of the consequences? Cheng Ting naturally knew about the blood sacrifice divine medicine and said in disbelief. It's still better than not being able to obtain the pentacolored divine dragon fruit. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. However, there was something in his heart that he did not say. The blood sacrifice divine medicine would indeed cause the fruit to lose a portion of its power. The 5 elemental laws would not be pure and the evolution of the small world would be greatly reduced. However, through the blood sacrifice divine medicine, the power within the fruit could greatly increase the physical strength of a martial artist. To a physique refinement expert, there were only benefits and no disadvantages. Could it be that Xiong Ba is also a physique refinement expert? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he thought to himself. Rumble. After devouring the primordial spirits of so many talisman men and talisman beasts, the growth of the 5-colored divine dragon vine seemed to have reached an extreme. The 9 pentacolored divine dragon fruits glowed with resplendent light and flowed with 5-colored divine light, causing the clouds in the sky to become extremely gorgeous. Beams of divine light soared into the sky, forming the shape of 9 suns in the 9 heavens. The phenomenon was extremely astonishing. When the divine medicine ripened, there would be a shocking scene. The news of the 5-colored divine dragon fruit could no longer be hidden. Soon, many experts would come to snatch it. However, this period of time was enough for Xiong Ba to keep the 9 fruits. We must obtain the 5-colored divine dragon fruit. Long Ao Tian, Wang Lujun, I will go and break the trap that Xiong Ba left behind. The 2 of you must hold Xiong Ba back. With the combined strength of the 3 of us, we will definitely be able to snatch the 5-colored divine dragon fruit from Xiong Ba's hands. Cheng Ting's eyes revealed a trace of anxiety. After she spoke to Ling Xiao and Wang Lujun, she turned into a ray of black light and shot into the sky. Boom! The heavenly wind in the surroundings trembled as the void rumbled. The ancient bow in Cheng Ting's hand was pulled into a full moon by her. A silver arrow containing the power to pierce through everything instantly shot towards Xiong Ba on the peak of the mountain. Cheng Ting! How dare you! Xiong Ba's cold and furious voice rang out. He also recognized Cheng Ting's identity and knew how terrifying the ancient bow in Cheng Ting's hand was. The silver arrow was like a vast galaxy as it spread out in the void. In an instant, it was about to drown the entire mountain peak. Xiong Ba had set up a powerful killing array on the mountain peak, which was why he was able to kill so many talisman men and talisman beasts. But in front of this arrow of Cheng Ting's, the powerful killing array actually paled in comparison, and all of a sudden, it exploded. Resplendent divine light swept out in all directions, causing the void to tremble. A few towering ancient trees in the surroundings were swept up and instantly turned into dust. Stop her! Killing intent flashed in the eyes of the green-robed man and the purple-dressed woman. In an instant, they led over 100 godly experts and charged towards Cheng Ting. Chapter 1239. Those who block me shall die. Killing intent flashed across Cheng Ting's eyes. 2 silver arrows were knocked on her ancient bow. Her body seemed to be surrounded by silver light as she aimed at the green-robed man and the purple-dressed lady. Then, she shot the arrows. What? The expressions of the green-robed man and the purple-dressed woman changed drastically. They didn't even think before grabbing the 2 unlucky deities beside them and pushing them forward. At the same time, a talisman flashed in their hands and the 2 of them disappeared. Boom! The 2 unlucky godly spirits were shot by Cheng Ting. Not even their bones were left. Even their primordial spirits were turned into dust. At this moment, Yi Liangchen and Feng Ye charged towards the hundreds of godly spirits. On the other hand, Ling Xiao and Wang Lujun transformed into 2 resplendent streaks of light. The moment Cheng Ting destroyed the killing array, they charged up the cliff shrouded in clouds. At this moment, the 5-colored divine dragon fruits were completely ripe. 9 5-colored divine dragon fruits floated above the 5-colored divine dragon vine and emitted 5-colored light. The surrounding clouds were dyed in 5 colors. Then, 9 small suns fell off and flew towards the sky. Keep them. Xiong Ba's eyes were filled with excitement. He took a deep breath and was about to keep the 9 5-colored divine dragon fruits. Boom! A huge golden hand fell from the sky. It contained an ancient and vast power. It was extremely terrifying as it pressed down on Xiongba. The terrifying power contained within that palm caused Xiongba's expression to change. If he insisted on keeping the 5-colored divine dragon fruits, this palm would be able to severely injure him. You're courting death. Xiongba's eyes revealed a cold killing intent. Someone actually dared to take the fruits of his labor. He could not tolerate it. The dark golden light around him was dazzling as he threw a punch towards the sky. The dark golden fist print contained an extremely ferocious intent. It was like a vajra glaring angrily, wanting to crush everything. It was filled with killing intent. Boom! The fist and palm collided. Instantly, a thunderous sound resounded in the void, creating a vast divine light storm, causing Xiongba to involuntarily tremble. As for Ling Xiao, he felt his arm go numb. He secretly circulated his divine arts to refine the power of that punch. A Buddhist fist technique? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He didn't expect Xiongba to be related to the Buddhist sect. Xiongba also saw the two of them clearly. One of them was a handsome young man in white, and the other was a beautiful woman in a blue dress, holding an ancient blue sword. Lu Jun. How dare you bring an outsider to ruin my plans? If you want the 5-colored divine dragon fruit, I'll naturally give it to you. Xiongba's face was ashen as he stared at Wang Lujun. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. He had already treated Wang Lujun as his exclusive property. In the end, at the critical moment, Wang Lujun actually brought people to snatch the 5-colored divine dragon fruit. She wanted to ruin his plans. Instantly, a towering rage rose in his heart. I'll take the 5-colored divine dragon fruit myself. I don't need you to give it to me. Wang Lujun said indifferently. Her eyes flashed and her slender hands rose into the air, grabbing towards the 9 5-colored divine dragon fruits. Put it down. Xiongba's eyes were about to spit fire. He roared and his entire body was like an ancient ferocious beast. In an instant, he soared into the sky and grabbed the 5-colored divine dragon fruit. You're Xiongba. Since you want my life, then let's have a fight today. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and the blood in his body rose. Golden divine light exploded and he used his physical strength to throw a punch towards Xiongba. You're Long Outyan. You deserve to die. Xiongba's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. His body was shrouded in a dark golden light, causing every inch of his body to become a killing weapon. He was like a human-shaped Tyrannosaurus as he charged towards Ling Xiao. At the same time, he threw out both his fists viciously, aiming for Ling Xiao's temples. Ling Xiao could feel the blood flowing in Xiongba's body. It was like a vast ocean that contained an endless amount of energy. This caused the battle intent around him to become even stronger. Boom! The two of them collided violently like a volcano erupting, causing the surrounding space to tremble. The two of them flew back at an even faster speed. On the other side, just as Wang Lujun was about to grab the 5-colored divine dragon fruit carefully, a dazzling sword light flashed across the sky. Its speed was extremely fast and it slashed towards Wang Liujun's arm. If Wang Lujun grabbed the 5-colored divine dragon fruit, her arm would probably be chopped off. Jianxie. Wang Liujun's expression changed and she instantly chose to stop. At the same time, she saw the figure of the person who attacked. It was a swordsman in a black robe. He held an ancient sword in his hand and his body was as straight as a sword. He looked ordinary, but his eyes were extremely bright, as if they contained an endless amount of sword intent. The black-robed swordsman was the 9th prince of the Sky Sword Holy Nation, Jianxie. He was currently ranked 3rd on the rankings. Give the 5-colored divine dragon fruit to me. Jianxie said indifferently. His voice was filled with unquestionable determination and he was determined to kill. He did not even look at Wang Lujun. Divine light flashed in his hand and it turned into a powerful devouring force, enveloping the 9 5-colored divine dragon fruits. Swoosh! However, at this moment, a silver arrow flew towards him at an extremely fast speed. It actually broke through Jianxia's aura and headed towards his forehead. Jianxia, you want to snatch my things? Why don't you take a look at yourself first? Qing Ting's angry voice rang out. She did not expect the situation to be so chaotic that even Jianxia wanted a share of the loot. If Xiongba was a lunatic, then Jianxia was a sword fanatic. He did not care about anyone else other than his own sword Dao. This kind of person was the most terrifying. Therefore, Qing Ting's heart was filled with fear. Break! A sharp glint flashed in Jianxia's eyes as he spat out a single word. Instantly, the space around him seemed to distort. Rays of sword light flashed, forming a mysterious sword domain. All of them were directed towards Qing Ting's arrow. Clang! 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 Countless rays of sword light shattered, causing the void to tremble slightly. Although Jianxia had dodged the arrow in the end, he was unable to obtain the five-colored divine dragon fruit. In an instant, the great swamp in the west fell into an intense battle. Chapter 1240. Rumble. Ling Xiao and Xiong Ba clashed dozens of times in an instant. The two of them were like two human-shaped divine beasts clashing. The earth quaked, the mountains shook, and the peaks shattered. This 300 zhang tall mountain peak seemed like it would collapse at any moment. Bang! Ling Xiao made use of his clash with Xiong Ba to rush up to the sky and grab the 9 penta-divine dragon fruits. However, Xiong Ba was already prepared. He circulated the god energy in his body and pulled the 5-colored divine dragon fruit higher into the sky. At the same time, his fists were extremely ferocious and extremely fast. It was as though they were chasing after Ling Xiao, smashing towards the back of Ling Xiao's head. As long as Ling Xiao dared to snatch the penta-divine dragon fruits, he would kill Ling Xiao. Clang! At the same time, Jianxia held an ancient sword in his hand. The sword radiance vibrated and formed thousands of sword radiances around him. They rained down on Ling Xiao. Moreover, the hundreds of spirits led by the green-robed man and the purple-robed woman charged at Ling Xiao, Wang Lujun and Qing Ting. The scene was chaotic. However, Ling Xiao was surrounded by Xiong Ba and Jianxia. Skyfall Hammer. A sharp glint flashed across Ling Xiao's eyes as he lightly spat out 3 words. Rumble. His body was full of energy and a mysterious and ancient aura rose. Ling Xiao embraced the heavens and his fists were powerful. It was like a hammer that reached the heavens. It fell from the 9 heavens towards Xiong Ba and Jianxia. Clang! Xiong Ba's fists collided with the heaven's embrace hammer. However, before they came into contact with each other, they were attracted by the qi. It was as if they had smashed onto metal, causing a crisp sound to ring out. Xiong Ba's fists involuntarily changed direction and flew towards Jianxia. What? Xiong Ba's eyes were filled with disbelief. Ling Xiao had used the fist intent to borrow strength to fight strength. It made him feel terrible. However, before he could think any further, he could not help but clash head-on with Jianxia's overflowing sword will. Rumble. Divine light exploded in the sky. Sword qi and fist intent intertwined and both of their auras shook. Ling Xiao made use of this gap and used a teleportation secret skill to teleport out of the area where the two of them were fighting. He then stretched out his hand to grab the fruits. Star-picking hand. Ling Xiao's palm seemed to stretch out thousands of miles in an instant. It was as though he was holding the entire galaxy in his palm. The 9 pentacolored divine dragon fruits that were still struggling were directly grabbed by Ling Xiao and kept into his small world. Bastard! Hand over the 5-colored divine dragon fruit. Damn you! Xiong Ba and Jianxia were completely enraged. The kid in front of them was merely at the late stage of the divine spirit realm. In their eyes, he was like an ant that they could kill with a flip of their hand. Yet, he had actually snatched away the 5-colored divine dragon fruit. This was simply intolerable. This was especially so for Xiongba. He had made so many preparations and in the end, it was all for Ling Xiao. Naturally, he was incomparably furious. The fury in his eyes was about to spew out. Boom! The two of them attacked Ling Xiao at the same time. Roar! Xiongba let out an ancient and mysterious roar. The light around his body was resplendent, and behind him, there seemed to be an awe-inspiring black divine tiger that appeared, causing his aura to soar. The surrounding space seemed to be condensed. His hands turned into claws and like a ferocious tiger coming out of the mountains, they were incomparably sharp as they clawed towards Ling Xiao's head. This was the Sky Tyrant Divine Claw. Legend had it that it was a supreme divine ability passed down by the Sky Tyrant Divine Tiger. It was comparable to the might of a sage-to-be. It was extremely terrifying. Ling Xiao could also feel the sharp wind from the claws. He couldn't help but exclaim in his heart. Xiongba's physical body was actually not any weaker than Ling Xiao's. This meant that he was also a god with his physical body. Moreover, Xiongba's Sky Tyrant Divine Body was a peerless body refining technique left behind by the Sky Tyrant Divine Tiger. Therefore, in terms of physical body, Ling Xiao couldn't gain the upper hand. Clang! At the same time, Jian Xie's body trembled. Two rays of sword light condensed in his eyes and turned into one black and one white sword light. They flowed with the power of life and death and were extremely mysterious. They intertwined with each other and slashed towards Ling Xiao. The Great Yin-Yang Sword Qi was also a supreme sword technique of Jian Xie. Now that he was angered by Ling Xiao, he had completely exploded. Ling Xiao instantly felt a sense of danger. Jian Xie's Great Yin-Yang Sword Qi actually contained a trace of the law of life and death. It was extremely similar to Duguqiubai's Destruction Sword Dao and Life Sword Dao. However, it was far weaker than Duguqiubai's Sword Dao. However, the Great Yin-Yang Sword Qi had its own innate ability. It had an indestructible sharpness. Void Quake. Ling Xiao's eyes shone with a sharp light. The divine energy around his body instantly gushed out. Like a volcanic eruption, it caused the surrounding space to tremble violently. Some kind of power of law seemed to have been activated. The space around Ling Xiao seemed to have a layer of faint ripples spreading out. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, followed the force of the vibration wave and punched forward. At this moment, Ling Xiao's small world seemed to have completely merged with the outside world. The two of them formed a mysterious resonance. That kind of power was activated by Ling Xiao's fist and pushed out horizontally. Instantly, it formed the Void Quake. Boom! Xiongba's face changed. He could feel that the power of the Sky Tyrant Divine Claw was rapidly weakening. The sharp claw marks were actually destroyed by a mysterious vibrating force in the void, causing him to lose more than half of his strength in an instant. Jian Xie also had the same feeling. The Great Yin-Yang Sword Qi should have been indestructible. However, in the face of that mysterious ripple, it was actually weakened rapidly. In the end, the terrifying fist exploded. The sky-dominating Divine Claw and Great Yin-Yang Sword Qi actually turned into nothingness at the same time. Xiongba and Jian Xie could not help but tremble violently as they were sent flying by Ling Xiao's punch. I don't have time to play with you guys anymore. Goodbye. Ling Xiao took advantage of this opportunity to step on a divine rainbow and instantly soared into the sky. He turned into a ray of light and sped off into the distance. Now that the five-colored divine dragon fruit was in his hands, there was no need to continue fighting. Furthermore, Ling Xiao could feel that Xiongba and Jian Xie were extremely strong. If he continued fighting, he might not be able to gain an advantage. The most important thing was that the appearance of the five-colored divine dragon fruit would probably attract a large number of experts. Ling Xiao had already discussed with Wang Lujun and the rest. As long as Ling Xiao obtained the five-colored divine dragon fruit, he would leave immediately. After shaking off the pursuers, he would find a place to meet up. Where are you going? If you don't hand over the five-colored divine dragon fruit today, no one will be able to save you. Xiong Ba's face was filled with killing intent. He hated Ling Xiao to the extreme. Together with Jian Xie, they chased after Ling Xiao at full speed. Bastard! This guy actually managed to snatch the five-colored divine dragon fruit and even escape from the encirclement of Xiong Ba and Jian Xie. How is this possible? At this moment, Qing Ting gritted her teeth and said. She was completely stunned. She could not believe that Ling Xiao actually had such terrifying combat strength. Chapter 1241. Good sister, I'll go and help brother-in-law. You stay here and hold these bastards back. Qing Ting's eyes flashed cunningly as she shouted at Wang Lujun. Without waiting for Wang Liujuan's reply, she turned into a black ray of light and chased after Ling Xiao and the rest. This guy seems to be worried about the five-colored divine dragon fruit in Long Outyan's hands. Wang Liujuan's eyes flashed as she said indifferently. Rumble. At that moment, the hundreds of supreme gods had already charged forward. The surroundings were blazing with divine light as the heavens and earth trembled. Powerful attacks came from all directions. Wang Lujun, Yap Liangchen, and Feng Ye looked at each other and their eyes were filled with fighting spirit. They charged towards the hundreds of supreme gods at the same time. A huge battle broke out in an instant. Ling Xiao was like a golden ray of light as he sped towards the distance. He could feel that Xiong Ba and Jian Xie were hot on his tail. Both of them were filled with killing intent as if they would not stop until they killed Ling Xiao. Qing Ting was also following closely behind Xiong Ba and Jian Xie. The four of them were extremely fast. The mountains and rivers below them flew past them quickly. They flew past the mountains and lakes, crossed the rivers and lakes, and flew towards the depths of the great void secret world. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. If he used the teleportation secret skill, he would be able to shake off Xiong Ba and Jian Xie easily. However, Ling Xiao purposely slowed down. He maintained a distance of 1,000 feet from Xiong Ba and Jian Xie as he flew towards the distance. Just like that, Ling Xiao flew for tens of thousands of miles. A clear lake appeared in front of him. It looked like a huge mirror. It was so clear that one could see the bottom. There were no ripples. In the middle of the lake, clouds swirled around. There was a mountain that was 10,000 feet tall. It looked majestic and majestic. It was extraordinary. Swoosh! Ling Xiao landed on the mountain in an instant. He did not continue to run but turned around to look at Xiong Ba and Jian Xie. Brat, why aren't you running anymore? Hand over the five-colored divine dragon fruit and I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. Xiong Ba's eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at Ling Xiao. He was exuding a towering killing intent. Evil Sword also said indifferently, a wise man submits to circumstances. You are no match for the two of us. Hand over the five-colored divine dragon fruit. Both of them exuded a powerful killing intent, locking onto Ling Xiao from both sides. It was as if they would unleash a killing blow at any moment. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, his eyes revealing a trace of mockery as he said, I've never thought of running away. The reason I'm here is to find a good place for you to be buried. Look, isn't this a good place for you to be buried? The reason why Ling Xiao left that place was because the commotion caused by the five-colored divine dragon fruit was too great. It was inevitable that it would attract more and more powerhouses. If they continued to stay there, Yi Liangchen and Feng Ye would be in danger. Ling Xiao had lured Xiong Ba and Jian Xie here because he wanted to fight them fair and square. Xiong Ba and Jian Xie, from a certain perspective, represented the strongest of the hundreds of thousands of geniuses in this great void trial. If Ling Xiao defeated them, the position of the champion would naturally be in his grasp. Moreover, the points on them were also something that Ling Xiao wanted very much. Ha ha ha. Very good. Long Outyan, you are indeed arrogant and egotistical. However, if you dare to say such arrogant words without strength, you will only bring death upon yourself. Prepare to die. Xiong Ba was so angry that he laughed, his eyes revealing a trace of cold sharpness. Boom! Dark golden divine light flashed around his body as he stepped on the void. He was like a meteor that smashed everything in its path as he punched towards Ling Xiao. Blood chi rose around Xiong Ba as a black divine tiger appeared behind him, causing his aura to become extremely wild and terrifying. That was the Sky Overlord Divine Tiger, also the totem of the Sky Overlord Divine Kingdom. Legend had it that the royal family of the Sky Overlord Divine Kingdom possessed the bloodline of the Sky Overlord Divine Tiger. Xiong Ba's Sky Overlord Divine Body was also known as the body that was closest to the Sky Overlord Divine Tigers. It was extremely strong and had an invincible physical body. Sky Overlord Divine Fist. An incomparably ferocious fist print instantly pressed down towards Ling Xiao. Come at me. Ling Xiao's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He felt as though the blood in his body was boiling. Xiong Ba's strong physical body gave him a lot of pressure, but it also stimulated his fighting spirit. Ling Xiao did not dodge and punched out. The ferocious fist print trembled slightly in the void, and the divine light of the four divisions appeared, intertwining with each other. It contained the power of four mysterious laws, converging into a chaotic fist print, as if it had the power to destroy the void. Four symbols sky striking style. This was a fist technique that Ling Xiao had created by using the four symbols origin of the four symbols of the four secret arts. It had countless changes. After Ling Xiao came to the realm of the gods, it had been baptized by the laws of the realm of the gods, causing this fist technique to become more complete and perfect. The power of the four symbols sky striking style had also begun to truly explode. Boom! The two fists collided, causing the void to tremble violently. It was as though a small sun had exploded in the sky. Xiong Ba's Sky Overlord Divine Fist was extremely strong. The shadow of the Sky Overlord Divine Tiger was extremely lifelike, as though it would pounce out from the void at any time. However, in front of the four symbols sky striking style, it was destroyed by the fist print. Rays of divine light swept across the sky. Xiong Ba felt as though he had been struck by lightning. He felt his arm go numb and he could not help but retreat. How is this possible? What kind of fist technique is this? Xiong Ba's eyes were filled with disbelief. When he fought with Ling Xiao previously, he could feel that although Ling Xiao's physical body was extremely strong, it was only on par with his. However, the four symbols sky striking style's fist was extremely strong and contained the power of the four symbols origin. It actually broke his Sky Overlord Divine Fist and forced him to retreat. Clang! At this moment, Jian Xia also attacked at the same time. With his arrogance, it was impossible for him to attack Ling Xiao together with Xiong Ba. However, for the sake of the five-colored divine dragon fruit, he could not care less. A snow-white sword light, containing an extreme radiance, was extremely fast. This sword represented the extreme speed, and almost instantly, it was in front of Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao could even feel that the sharp sword light was about to pierce through his skin at any time. The sword essence was extremely pure. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. He had only seen 3 people in the war god world who were as pure as Jian Xie. They were Dugu Shui, Jian Wushuang, and Dugu Qiubai. The reason sword cultivators were so formidable and even caused countless other experts to fear them was because of their unyielding and indomitable peerless sword intent. Chapter 1242. 5 Elements Heaven Sealing Style. Ling Xiao grunted softly and even closed his eyes slightly. He threw a punch forward. The fist print was ancient and mysterious. The 5 colors divine light flowed around him, making him look mysterious. The fist print seemed to have covered the heavens and earth. The 5 colors divine light sealed the heavens and earth, sealing all living things and stars. It was as though a world was formed with the 5 elements' force. In an instant, it covered the sword will, including Jian Xia, within it. A world punch. This legendary realm caused Xiong Ba and Jian Xia's faces to turn pale. Rumble. However, they did not have time to think. The vast 5 elements divine light was like a millstone in the void. It wanted to turn everything into dust. Jian Xie's sword was extremely fast. When it landed in the Five Elements world, it disappeared without a trace. On the other hand, Jian Xie's eyes were filled with a solemn look. The sword intent around him rose to the extreme. The ancient sword in his hand shone with an unparalleled sharpness. In an instant, he slashed out tens of thousands of sword lights, intending to completely shatter the world formed by the fist intent. Kill! Xiong Ba also roared as he pounced towards Ling Xiao. He could feel that Jian Xie was in a bad situation. If he continued to stay in the fist world, he might be killed. Hence, he wanted to break Ling Xiao's fist world from the outside to save Jian Xie. However, Ling Xiao was not as calm as he looked. The Five Elements Heaven Sealing style was a peerless fist skill that he had recreated on the basis of the Four Elephants Sky Striking style and the power of Qilin's secret skill. The five elements reinforced and restrained each other. They flowed endlessly. Although the power of the punch was terrifying, in order to maintain the fist world, the power in Ling Xiao's body was being sucked out. In just a short moment, half of his power had been sucked out. Otherwise, if Ling Xiao could maintain the fist world for a long time, Xiong Ba and Jian Xie would not have run out of power. They would have been killed by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao guessed that if he wanted the fist world to last forever, he would have to break through to the Sage Realm and possess an eternal Saint Path realm. Break! Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He naturally could not let Xiong Ba and Jian Xie break the fist world from the outside. Hence, he chose to destroy it. Rumble! Terrifying fist burst out. The vast fist that had turned into a world of five elements was dazzling. Then, it exploded like a small sun. The sky shook and the void seemed to be about to be destroyed. As for Xiong Ba and Jian Xie, they were swept up by the terrifying power and were instantly sent flying a few hundred feet away, looking extremely miserable. This was especially so for Jian Xie. Being in the world of fist intent, he was the first to bear the brunt of the impact. In addition, his physical body was not as strong as Xiong Ba's. Therefore, he was severely injured. His face was pale and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Why is Long Outyin so strong? Cheng Ting, who was hiding in the distance and waiting for an opportunity to launch a sneak attack, was also stunned. She had never thought that Long Outyin's strength would be so terrifying. He was merely at the late stage of the divine spirit realm, yet he was able to fight against Xiong Ba and Jian Xie by himself. He was even able to gain the upper hand and suppress the two of them. If news of this were to spread, the entire Great Void Mystic Realm would be shocked. After all, even the legendary low-profile and powerful Ji Lingyang did not dare to say that he could fight against Xiong Ba and Jian Xie alone. Others might think that Xiong Ba was the strongest, but Cheng Ting knew how terrifying Ji Lingyang was. That hypocrite who hid a knife behind his smile was even stronger than Xiong Ba. Wang Lujun has really picked up a treasure this time. No, I have my eyes on this brat. How can I snatch him over? Cheng Ting's beautiful eyes were filled with light. Like a hungry wolf that had seen its prey, her gaze became incomparably hot. Bastard, why are they here? Amidst the mountains, there was a mysterious figure with no aura at all, as though he had merged with the mountains. He stared at the battle between Ling Xiao, Xiong Ba, and Jian Xie, his eyes filled with rage. It was a young man wearing a pink robe and holding a folding fan. He looked incomparably handsome and feminine. He was the Peach Blossom Prince, Lu Wenqing. Lu Wenqing's face was extremely ugly. He had been waiting here for so long. When the Heavenly Dog Eclipse was about to begin, the Black Tortoise Saint's cave would open and he would be able to enter to obtain the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance. However, he did not expect that there would be a few uninvited guests. This Long Outyin, he's actually the bastard that killed Uncle Lu. How can he be so strong? Lu Wenqing's eyes widened. At this moment, he recognized Ling Xiao's face. This was the brat that killed Lu Tiansha in the Wind Spirit tribe and ruined his plans. What shocked him even more was that regardless of whether it was Xiong Ba or Jian Xie, they were far stronger than him. However, the two of them were still suppressed by Ling Xiao. This Long Out Yan's strength was too terrifying. Luckily they don't have the Black Tortoise divine armor. Even if they can enter the Black Tortoise cave, they won't be able to obtain the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance. However, I have to find the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance quickly. Lu Wenqing caressed the Black Tortoise divine armor on his body and felt a little more at ease. However, he still felt a little worried. This place was already deep within the Great Void's secret realm. Lu Wenqing even knew that he had reached the boundary of the trial grounds. The Realm Heart Lake had a powerful array set up by the saint. On the other side was the vast Great Void's secret realm. It was said that there were even God King Realm Talisman men there. It was extremely dangerous. If not for the array set up by the saint to isolate a large portion of the Great Void's secret realm, how could these people kill the talisman men and talisman beasts so easily? They would have been torn apart long ago. Lu Wenqing stared nervously at the sky. There, the resplendent sun was flowing with beautiful flames. However, at this moment, it had already dimmed slightly. It was as if there was a black shadow approaching at an extremely fast speed. Lu Wenqing knew that the heavenly dog eclipse was about to arrive. The so-called heavenly dog eclipse was when, at a special time, the extreme Yin star would cover the extreme Yang star, causing the extreme Yang star in the sky to be swallowed by the heavenly dog eclipse. Heaven and earth would fall into eternal darkness. Only at that time would the extreme Yin and extreme Yang energies reach a delicate balance. It would also allow the Black Tortoise Saint's cave to open for a short period of time. If they missed this opportunity, they would never be able to open the Black Tortoise cave again. Rumble. Right at this moment, a strange scene appeared in the sky. That scene was vast and mysterious. It caused Ling Xiao, Xiong Ba, and Jian Xie, who were in the middle of a battle, to tremble. They couldn't help but raise their heads. In the sky, the resplendent sun seemed to have been swallowed by some primordial beast. A black shadow began to cover it. The sky began to darken in an instant. Chapter 1243. Heavenly Dog Devouring the Sun. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed and he couldn't help but reveal a trace of shock. He didn't expect that the heavenly dog devouring the sun would appear at this moment. Rumble. Darkness enveloped the land and streaks of lightning seemed to pour down, emitting a vast and eye-catching aura. The mountain in the Realm Heart Lake emitted a bright light at this moment. It was golden as if it was cast from gold and emitted an ancient and mysterious aura. On the mountain top, an ancient stone door appeared and opened with a loud bang. A majestic aura gushed out from it as if it led to an unknown world. This is the aura of the Holy Tao. Could this be the cave of an ancient saint? Xiong Ba's body trembled as he felt the aura of the Holy Tao coming from the stone door. Instantly, his eyes revealed a look of ecstasy. Although Jian Xie didn't say anything, his breathing quickened. The Black Tortoise Cave Mansion is finally open. Ha ha ha. The inheritance of the Black Tortoise Saint can only be mine. Lu Wenqing's eyes revealed an incomparably excited expression. He had already prepared himself when the heavenly dog devoured the sun. At this moment, when he saw the stone door appear, he instantly turned into a stream of light and shot into the stone door with extreme speed. Peach Blossom Prince Lu Wenqing. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed sharply. Lu Wenqing's speed was too fast. Before Ling Xiao, Xiong Ba, and Jian Xie could react, Lu Wenqing had already entered the stone door. However, Ling Xiao was able to clearly see Lu Wenqing's appearance. This aura is very similar to the aura of the Black Tortoise Divine Armor. No wonder he spent so much to buy the Black Tortoise Divine Armor. It seems like the Black Tortoise Divine Armor is definitely related to this cave mansion. A sliver of understanding flashed through Ling Zhao's eyes. He made a prompt decision, turning into a streak of golden light as he shot into the stone door. Rumble. The stone door existed for an extremely long time and needed the power of the sun and moon to reach a balance before it could open. At this moment, it was actually trembling slightly as if it was about to close. At this moment, how could Xiong Ba and Jian Xia care about Ling Xiao? They also leaped up and entered the stone door in an instant. There's actually an ancient saint's cave mansion here. This lady is going to hit the jackpot. Cheng Ting was also incomparably excited. Her eyes were filled with eagerness as she followed closely behind and entered the stone door. Lu Wenqing, Ling Xiao, Xiong Ba, Jian Xia, and Cheng Ting all entered the stone door. In just a short moment, the balance between the Great Yin and Great Yang was broken, and the stone door at the top of the mountain disappeared. Rumble. In an instant, Ling Xiao appeared in an unfamiliar world. Before he had time to look around, he immediately heard the sound of something tearing through the air. Moreover, it emitted an extremely fierce energy fluctuation. Whoosh! Ling Xiao instantly used the secret teleportation technique. His entire body was like a golden rainbow, instantly teleporting several hundred feet to the side. There was a loud explosion in the air, and Ling Xiao instantly saw the figure that attacked him. It was a pitch-black stone man. Although it was only 3 meters tall, its entire body emitted an extremely powerful energy fluctuation, reaching the level of true God realm. The stone man's face looked lifelike, and it was extremely resolute. Its entire body emitted an aura that made one's heart palpitate. Ling Xiao was at the bottom of a mountain, and the surroundings were messy gravel. However, the black stone man in front of him seemed to have a grudge against Ling Xiao. After missing its first attack, it threw another punch at Ling Xiao. Good timing. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This time, he didn't choose to dodge. Instead, he threw a punch out as well. The blood around his body rose, and the golden fist print contained an indestructible energy fluctuation. Suddenly, it collided with the black stone man. Bang! There was a dull sound in the air, and Ling Xiao felt an unparalleled divine power attacking him. Instantly, his arm became numb, and he was sent flying several hundred feet. However, the black stone man's body only swayed a little, and he took a few steps back. Could it be that this stone man is a legendary puppet? It actually has such powerful fighting power. I'm afraid it's already close to the peak of true God realm. Ling Xiao's gaze instantly became somewhat solemn. A puppet stone man comparable to the peak of true God realm. It was fearless of death and did not know pain. Yet, its speed, combat instinct, and offensive power were all extremely strong, appearing incomparably difficult to deal with. Although the stone man did not seem to have intelligence, it did not have much impact on its combat power. Ling Xiao could see that behind the stone man, there was a path leading to the top of the mountain. And on the top of the mountain, there was an ancient palace, emitting a mysterious aura. Very clearly, this black stone man was like some kind of loyal guard, guarding everything on the top of the mountain. Heaven-seizing hammer. Ling Xiao's gaze flickered with a sharp light. The might of the black stone man made him give birth to a powerful fighting intent in his heart too. Immediately, golden divine light rose around his body. He threw a punch at the black stone man, initiating the battle. This punch was boundless, as if heaven and earth were enveloped by this punch. The fist momentum was vast and forceful, suppressing towards the black stone man. These 3 moves could be said to be the strongest fist technique that Ling Xiao had at the moment. Although his self-created 4-elephant sky striking style and 5-element sky sealing style were strong, their essence was a divine path martial art that used the divine power law. It was not purely a body-refining martial art. Ling Xiao's current cultivation was still too weak, so he was unable to fully unleash the power of these 2 moves. As for the 3 moves, together with Ling Xiao's powerful physical body, it possessed an indestructible fluctuation. Rumble. The void shook. This time, Ling Xiao and the black stone man's body shook violently, then they both retreated at the same time. This move, Heaven-Seizing Hammer, was ferocious and the fist intent was vast. It actually offset the difference between Ling Xiao and the black stone man, causing them to be somewhat evenly matched. Again. Star-picking hand. Ling Xiao's blood boiled. His eyes flickered with a sharp light, and he threw another palm strike towards the black stone man. Not only Ling Xiao, but even Lu Wenqing, Xiong Ba, Jian Xia, and Qing Ting were also obstructed by the black stone man, and an intense battle broke out. However, the black stone man's strength was too strong. It was unknown what kind of material was used to make these puppets, but they were indestructible. Although powerful divine king weapons could leave marks on their bodies, they were instantly restored to their original state. Other than Xiong Ba, who could barely contend with the black stone man in close combat, Jian Xia and Qing Ting were in a miserable state. Most of Jian Xia's combat strength was on the sword Dao, while Qing Ting cultivated the archery Dao. They were unable to break through the stone man's defense, and could only be chased and beaten by the stone man. Only the peach blossom young master, Lu Wenqing, was able to react. When the black stone golem was about to attack him, the black tortoise divine armor on his body emitted a faint light. A mysterious aura filled the air. The black stone golem suddenly stopped attacking Lu Wenqing. It seemed as if it had once again fallen into a deep sleep. Ha ha ha. Looks like I am destined to be the successor of the black tortoise saint. Those few fellows, I'm afraid they are no match for these stone men. Lu Wenqing's confidence was greatly boosted, and he laughed loudly. He looked at the palace on the mountain peak, and his eyes were filled with passion. In an instant, he soared up and flew towards the palace. Chapter 1244. Rumble. Ling Xiao and the black stone man clashed rapidly. It was as if two mountains were crashing into each other. Thunderous roars could be heard as the surrounding ground trembled. Although the black stone man was extremely strong, Ling Xiao's 3 moves were extremely powerful. The more he fought, the more courageous he became. The blood and qi in his body seemed to be boiling. Skyfall hammer. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He hugged the void, causing the surrounding ground to tremble. Boundless fist intent burst forth. It was as if a saint was hugging a heavenly pillar or a celestial emperor was destroying Mount Buzhou. It contained an unparalleled energy fluctuation. The black stone man's arm was blocked by him. Then, his fist landed on the black stone man's chest. Kacha! It was as if some kind of crystal had shattered. Ling Xiao had punched a huge hole in the black stone man's chest. The black stone man's body trembled violently. Streaks of lightning intertwined. Then, it stood there motionless. A resplendent crystal flew out from the black stone man's chest. This is a rune bone. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He reached out his hand and grabbed it. That resplendent crystal was actually the rune bone in the rune beast's body. Ling Xiao also felt that the rune bone was the source of the black stone man's power. It was able to mobilize the rune power of the heaven and earth, allowing it to possess an invincible divine power. I wonder if this black stone man can be repaired. If it can be repaired, it will immediately have the combat power of a peak true god. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He walked around the black stone man. He could see that there were many mysterious runes intertwined in the black stone man's chest. However, they had all been destroyed by Ling Xiao. In addition, the rune bone was in Ling Xiao's hands. The black stone man naturally couldn't move. However, Ling Xiao didn't know anything about puppetry. It would be difficult to repair this black stone man. However, Ling Xiao still kept it in his pocket dimension. Behind the black stone man, there was a stone staircase that led to the ancient palace on the mountain peak. Ling Xiao instantly stepped on the stone staircase and flew towards the mountain peak. The ancient mountain exuded a majestic and vast aura. It was like a dormant primordial beast, incomparably majestic. The mountain was tens of thousands of feet tall, but Ling Xiao felt a mysterious aura of the divine path from the mountain. It was vast and majestic, containing the weight of the earth. Only the stone steps in front of Ling Xiao could lead to the top of the mountain. The other places were intertwined with mysterious auras. Ling Xiao had no doubt that if he did not pass through the stone steps and directly flew up, it was very likely that he would be killed by those mysterious auras. Ling Xiao ascended the stairs. The surroundings were misty and misty. Ancient trees were verdant, and old vines were entwined around them. There were also waterfalls and springs, and exotic flowers and plants could be seen everywhere. It was as if this was a paradise. Ling Xiao quickly arrived at the top of the mountain and saw the ancient palace. The palace was completely black, as if it was built with some kind of huge stone. Although it was not very exquisite, it had a natural artistic conception, as if it had merged with the world. The gate of the palace was tightly shut. Dozens of stone men stood in front of the palace, as if they were the most loyal guards, guarding this ancient palace. 1 golden stone man, 9 silver stone men, and 40 black stone men. Ling Xiao's face instantly changed. He did not expect there to be so many stone men here. One should know that the black stone men were extremely difficult to deal with. Ling Xiao spent a lot of effort to shatter their energy core. The black stone men were comparable to experts in the complete true god realm. Ling Xiao felt that the silver stone men and golden stone men would be even more terrifying. Even though the 50 stone golems looked very calm, as if they were dead and had not been activated at all, Ling Xiao was still extremely vigilant in his heart. Long Outyan. You actually settled the Black Iron Warrior so quickly? A surprised and cold voice was heard. Ling Xiao raised his head and saw that there was already someone in front of the palace gate. Peach Blossom Prince, Lu Wenqing. Black Iron Warrior. You're faster than me. If I'm not wrong, it's because of the black tortoise divine armor on your body, right? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he looked at Lu Wenqing indifferently. So these black stone men were called Black Iron Warriors. In that case, Lu Wenqing really knew the secret of this place. Long Outyan, I didn't expect you to be so arrogant to come here to seek death. Since that's the case, I'll fulfill your wish today. Lu Wenqing's eyes flashed with killing intent as he stared at Ling Xiao coldly. When he thought about how Lu Tiansha had died in Long Outyan's hands and how he had almost died in the Wind Spirit tribe, Lu Wenqing's heart was burning with rage. His killing intent was boiling to the extreme. Lu Wenqing, I really don't know where you got the confidence to be so arrogant. I let you escape last time. This time, you won't be so lucky. I can send you to reunite with Lu Tiansha. Ling Xiao looked at Lu Wenqing indifferently. Although Lu Wenqing's cultivation had broken through to the early true god realm and he had the black tortoise divine armor, Ling Xiao still did not take him seriously. Lu Wenqing's eyes were cold as he said coldly, Long Outyan. Don't be arrogant. I'm invincible here. If I want you dead, no one can save you. Black Iron Warriors, kill him. Lu Wenqing's divine power rose and the black tortoise divine armor on his body emitted a mysterious light as if it was communicating with the runes between heaven and earth. In an instant, it turned into a rain of light that fell on the bodies of the Black Iron Warriors. Rumble. An ancient, vast, and mysterious aura erupted. The eyes of the 40 Black Iron Warriors instantly lit up, and their blood-red light blazed. Baleful Qi soared, and they emitted terrifying auras. The gazes of the 40 Black Iron Warriors instantly landed on Ling Xiao. He can really control the Black Iron Warriors. Ling Xiao's body trembled and his eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. He instantly became alert. The surrounding void trembled slightly and a golden rainbow flashed under his feet as he retreated in the direction of the stone steps. If Ling Xiao found the energy core of a Black Iron Warrior, he could still deal with it. If there were 2 of them, he could still barely defeat them. However, with 40 Black Iron Warriors, even a Divine Realm expert would find it difficult to deal with them, let alone Ling Xiao. After all, these Black Iron Warriors did not know pain and were not afraid of death. However, it was unknown what material they were made of. They were extremely sturdy and ordinary divine weapons could not leave a mark on them. They were simply lumps of iron. Chapter 1245. So the area at the top of the mountain is the area they are guarding? It seems that as long as we are not in this area, there won't be much danger. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a look of understanding. Lu Wenqing did not expect Ling Xiao to find a way to deal with the Black Iron Warriors so quickly. His face darkened and he sneered, "Long Out Yen, you are really a cowardly rat. If you have the guts, come and fight with these black iron warriors." "What's the point of hiding?" Ling Xiao looked at him indifferently and sneered, "Lu Wenqing, what's the point of relying on the black iron warriors? If you dare to fight with me one-on-one, I guarantee that I will beat you until your father can't recognize you." "Ling Xiao, you are courting death." Lu Wenqing's eyes flashed with killing intent. However, he took a deep breath and said, "You can slowly hide. Let me tell you, this is the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance land. Once I obtain the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance, I will give you a quick death." "The Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance land? The Black Tortoise Divine Armor? I see." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he finally obtained some useful information. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. At this moment, 3 figures rushed to the top of the mountain from 3 different directions. Each of them had a powerful aura and a cold expression. They were Xiongba, Evil Sword, and Qingting. It was obvious that they had also dealt with the Black Iron Warriors. However, their speed was much slower. Ling Xiao also knew that although these Black Iron Warriors were powerful, their energy cores were their lifeline. The key was that they did not have spiritual intelligence. As long as their energy cores were destroyed, they would naturally lose their ability to fight. Xiongba, Evil Sword, and Qingting were all peerless geniuses. Even if they were at a disadvantage in the beginning, after a battle, they would be able to find the energy cores. Ling Xiao did not doubt that. Boom! However, just as they landed on the top of the mountain, the 40 Black Iron Warriors' auras were extremely terrifying. Dozens of black fists swept through the air and suddenly landed on the 3 of them. The terrifying fists seemed to be able to crush everything. Xiongba, Evil Sword, and Qingting's expressions changed. "Quickly get out of the mountain." Ling Xiao quickly transmitted his voice to Qingting. Whoosh! Qingting's speed was extremely fast. As she drew her bow and shot an arrow, a silver arrow pierced through the void and shot towards the Black Iron Warriors in front of her. Then, she retreated gracefully and flew towards Ling Xiao, landing on the stone steps. Rumble! The silver sword light was instantly shattered by the Black Iron Warrior, but their attack also missed. Qingting was able to retreat safely. Xiongba and Evil Sword, on the other hand, were not so lucky. Dozens of Black Iron Warriors attacked at the same time, causing their expressions to change drastically as they unleashed their most terrifying power. Sky Tyrant Divine Fist. Great Yin Yang Sword Chi. The terrifying fist imprint and the blazing sword light exploded in the air. Xiongba and Jianxia were in an incomparably miserable state. They even suffered some injuries. In an instant, they were blasted out of the square by the Black Iron Warrior. They staggered backwards and landed on the stone steps. Lu Wenqing can control these Black Iron Warriors. The Black Tortoise Divine Armor on his body is the key to opening this place, and it is very likely that the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance is within the palace. Ling Xiao did not hide anything from Qingting. What? The Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance? Qingting's eyes instantly lit up. The saint represented the strongest experts, educating and overseeing a region. If the saint's inheritance appeared in the divine world, countless divine king experts would probably rush here upon hearing the news. She did not expect the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance to appear here. However, when she heard Ling Xiao say that Lu Wenqing could control these Black Iron Warriors, Qingting was extremely fearful. The Black Iron Warrior at the foot of the mountain that blocked the way had caused Qingting great suffering. In the end, she had used the divine bow in her hand to shoot over 100 arrows before she found the Black Iron Warrior's vital point and broke through its energy core. The Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance? Ling Zhao's voice also entered Xiongba and Jianxia's ears, causing them to involuntarily tremble. They had even temporarily forgotten to ask Ling Xiao for the 5-colored divine dragon fruit as their minds were filled with the saint's inheritance. Oh! The genius experts on the scoreboard are all here. However, if you want the saint's inheritance, I'm afraid you don't have the qualifications nor the chance. Unless you can withstand the attacks of 40 black iron warriors. Lu Wenqing laughed coldly, his face filled with incomparable arrogance. At the same time, he was secretly activating the Black Tortoise sacred world to communicate with the ancient palace. The door of the palace was tightly shut. If he wanted to enter the palace, the key was the Black Tortoise sacred armor on his body. The Black Tortoise sacred armor was like a key. As long as he could sense the item left behind by the Black Tortoise Saint in the palace, he would be able to open the door of the palace. Lu Wenqing, do you really think that you can take the saint's inheritance for yourself? If the news spreads, even the Divine King experts will take action and you will die without a doubt. Xiong Ba said coldly, his eyes revealing a trace of cold killing intent. The 40 black iron warriors in front of him made him extremely fearful and infuriated. Seeing the saint's inheritance appear before their eyes, but being blocked by the black iron warriors, there was no way to get it. This temptation made Xiong Ba and Jian Xie very uncomfortable. Ha ha ha. The news won't spread. This is the Black Tortoise Saint's world. Without me, you won't be able to leave. Don't worry, once I obtain the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance, I will give you a quick death. Lu Wenqing laughed arrogantly, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. From his point of view, the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance could only belong to him. No matter if it was Xiong Ba, Jian Xie, Cheng Ting or Long Outyen, these uninvited guests deserved to die. Xiong Ba, Jian Xie and Cheng Ting's faces turned ugly. Obviously, Lu Wenqing held the initiative and knew all the secrets of this place. Now that they were blocked by the 40 black iron warriors, it could be said that they were in a dilemma. Could it be that they were really going to die here? Naturally, they were unwilling. Rumble. At this moment, Lu Wenqing had already established a link with the ancient palace. The black tortoise divine armor on his body shone with a resplendent light as a mysterious shadow of a black tortoise appeared. It looked extremely lifelike, ancient and majestic. In an instant, it soared into the air and merged with the palace. The ancient palace shone brightly, thousands of auspicious lights and thousands of divine lights. It began to tremble slightly, and the two ancient doors opened, spewing out endless rays of light. Look, the Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance belongs to me. If you aren't afraid of death, then come over. Ha ha ha. Lu Wenqing's eyes revealed an incomparably excited expression as he laughed coldly at Xiong Ba, Ling Xiao and the rest. Then, he instantly turned into a ray of light and shot into the palace. Damn it! Xiong Ba slammed his fist into the void. His face was filled with resentment, and even the void started to vibrate. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he suddenly said to Xiong Ba and Jian Xie, do you want to go in and fight for the saint's inheritance? If you do, then do as I say. Chapter 1246. What do you want to do? Xiong Ba's eyes flashed with a cold light as he looked at Ling Xiao indifferently. Ling Xiao had snatched his 5-colored divine dragon fruit. Although he wanted to kill Ling Xiao, the sage's inheritance was more tempting now. Hence, he had to be patient and see what Ling Xiao had to do. You all know that these black iron warriors are puppets. As long as we destroy their energy cores, they will immediately lose all their fighting strength. Although these 40 black iron warriors are strong, it's not like we don't have any methods. I'll be responsible for finding their energy cores, and you guys will be responsible for destroying them. How about that? Ling Xiao did not care about Xiong Ba and Jian Xie's attitude as he spoke calmly. Are you sure you can find their energy cores? You have to know that the energy cores of every black iron warrior are not fixed. I'm guessing that they can even change their positions. If you can't find them, we will all die. Jian Xie's eyes flashed as he spoke indifferently. Although he doubted Ling Xiao's words, he knew that Ling Xiao would not lie to them. Otherwise, once they were surrounded by 40 black iron warriors, they would all die. Ling Xiao would not treat his life as a joke. Don't worry. Since I said so, I naturally have confidence. However, after destroying their energy cores, these black iron warriors and all their rune bones will belong to me. Ling Xiao said confidently. You want these black iron warriors? It's a pity that the art of puppetry has long been lost. Do you think you can restore them? However, as long as you can find their energy cores and destroy them all, they can be yours. Xiong Ba's lips curled into a mocking smile. However, he was also a decisive person and immediately agreed. The sage's inheritance was the most important. Once these black iron warriors were destroyed, they would be a pile of scrap metal. Furthermore, Xiong Ba and Jian Xie knew that even if they joined forces now, it would only be a loose alliance. When it came to fighting for the sage's inheritance, they would most likely fight to the death. Very good. Listen to my orders later and attack together. Ling Xiao and Qing Ting looked at each other and spoke slowly. Whoosh! Ling Xiao's divine power surged as he shot into the square like an arrow. His body was surrounded by golden light and his speed was extremely fast. When the 40 black iron warriors felt Ling Xiao's aura, they instantly went berserk. Rumble! Terrifying waves of divine light swept across the void. The eyes of the 40 black iron warriors were bloodshot, and their battle intent soared as they pounced on Ling Xiao. Their speed was actually not much slower than Ling Xiao's. Moreover, a series of terrifying fist imprints covered the sky and covered the earth, as if they were going to smash everything into dust. Feeling the terrifying attack from the black iron warrior, Xiong Ba, Jian Xie, and Qing Ting's expressions changed drastically. Their eyes were filled with incomparable solemnity. No matter how much Xiong Ba and Jian Xie wished for Ling Xiao to die, they also hoped that Ling Xiao would be able to create a miracle and survive. Bang! Seeing that the black iron warriors were about to rush up, Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He stomped his feet, and the entire mountain rumbled as if it was about to explode. As for Ling Xiao, he transformed into a bolt of golden lightning and instantly soared into the sky. Rumble! The fist imprints of the 40 black iron warriors landed on Ling Xiao's original position, and instantly, a terrifying divine light storm was created. The majestic energy fluctuations caused the 40 black iron warriors to lose their balance and retreat. Qing Ting, the energy cores of the 2 black iron warriors in front of you are under their armpits. Xiong Ba, the energy core of the black iron warrior that was enveloped by my golden light is in between his eyebrows. Jian Xie, the energy core of the black iron warrior on your left is in his chest. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a golden light. He secretly activated the Heaven's Will secret skill, and even used his divine energy to simulate the supreme divine ability of the Eye of the Demon God. Instantly, his eyes seemed to turn pure gold, and the heavens and earth were filled with all sorts of mysterious laws. In Ling Xiao's eyes, the black iron warriors in front of him were practically naked. The energy cores in their bodies were as bright as small suns. Ling Xiao gave the order almost instantaneously. Qing Ting's eyes flashed. She was the one who trusted Ling Xiao the most. Without any hesitation, she pulled out 2 silver arrows, and the bow in her hand was pulled into a full moon shape. Then, she shot the arrows at the location that Ling Xiao said. Rumble! Qing Ting's arrows were also extremely fast. The 2 silver arrows seemed to have pierced through the void. Taking advantage of the fact that the 2 black iron warriors were swaying unsteadily, the arrows shot directly at their armpits. In that instant, the armpits of the 2 black iron warriors exploded. 2 rune bones flashed within, and they immediately lost their ability to fight. Qing Ting's confidence was instantly boosted. Her beautiful eyes were filled with joy as she looked at Ling Xiao. It turned out that he could really see the energy cores of the black iron warriors. However, Xiong Ba and Jian Xie were still suspicious of Ling Xiao's words. They did not immediately take action. Only when they saw Qing Ting kill the 2 black iron warriors with 2 arrows did they know that Ling Xiao was not lying to them. Rumble! The 2 of them instantly took action. Xiong Ba's fist was unparalleled, and Jian Xie's sword light pierced through the heavens, killing their respective targets. However, at this moment, the 2 black iron warriors had already reacted. Black divine light surged, and they both charged towards the 2 of them. An intense battle broke out, but the surrounding black iron warriors were about to tear Xiongba and Jianxia into pieces. Bastard! Qingting, help them! Ling Zhao's expression was somewhat ugly. He did not expect that these two bastards would actually doubt him and not take action. If they were to take action now, if they were unable to kill the Black Iron Warriors in a short period of time, the two of them would most likely die. Ling Xiao originally did not want to care about their lives. However, with just Ling Xiao and Qingting, it was impossible to deal with 40 Black Iron Warriors. Now, there were 38 of them. All right. Qingting's eyes flashed. She could be said to be the safest one. Her archery skills were unparalleled in the world, and her strength was above the bow. Hence, she could stand at the periphery and attack the Black Iron Warriors. There was no need for her to enter the center of the battlefield. Ling Zhao's current situation was also incomparably dangerous. He was the first to provoke the Black Iron Warriors. Hence, although he took the initiative and soared into the sky, he was still targeted by the Black Iron Warriors. More than 10 Black Iron Warriors also charged towards him. Skyfall Hammer. Chapter 1247. Bang! The void shook as the combined attack of the Black Iron Warriors was like an impassable diamond wall that pushed everything aside. Instantly, a resplendent light exploded. Ling Zhao's sky-encompassing hammer seemed to have hit the diamond wall. His body shook violently as he flew backwards. So, Ling Xiao did not continue fighting as he used a teleportation technique to return to the stone steps. But even so, Ling Zhao's blood was boiling all over his body. His arms were numb, and his internal organs were severely injured. That attack earlier was too terrifying. If it wasn't for Ling Zhao's strong physical body, even a true God Realm expert would have been turned into dust under that attack. Rumble. On the other side, with Qingting's cooperation, Xiongba and Jianxia had also dealt with the two Black Iron Warriors and returned to the stone steps. Their expressions were extremely ugly as they looked at Ling Xiao with a trace of gratitude in their eyes. If not for Ling Zhao's sky-encompassing hammer attracting the attention of most of the Black Iron Warriors and Qingting's cooperation to help them kill the two Black Iron Warriors, the two of them would have been surrounded by dozens of Black Iron Warriors. Just thinking about the consequences made them tremble. I hope that you will listen to my commands strictly. If there is a next time, I will not save you. Ling Xiao said as he looked at Xiongba and Jianxia. If Xiongba and Jianxia had been able to deal with the two Black Iron Warriors, they would have been able to escape unscathed. Xiongba and Sword Demon were also aware of this point. Hence, they did not refute it and nodded their heads in agreement. After Ling Xiao and the other three left the area of the plaza, the remaining 36 Black Iron Warriors lost their senses and stopped moving. Continue. A sharp light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes, and he charged forward again. This time, Ling Xiao attracted the attention of the Black Iron Warriors and created an opportunity for Qingting, Xiongba and Jianxia, successfully causing 3 Black Iron Warriors to lose their ability to fight. Under such circumstances, the cooperation between the 4 became more and more tacit. Rumble. On the square at the top of the mountain, a fierce battle broke out. Divine light flashed in all directions. With Ling Zhao's cheat-like ability, the 40 terrifying Black Iron Warriors were all taken care of by the 4 of them. If it wasn't for Ling Zhao's Heaven's Will secret technique, even a heavenly god wouldn't be able to see through the Black Iron Warrior's energy core. Even Lu Wenqing wouldn't have thought of this. Ha ha ha, this is great. Long Out Yen, if you return the pentacolored divine dragon fruit to me, I won't kill you, and we'll be friends. Xiongba laughed out loud as he looked at Ling Xiao and said. In this battle, he had already seen that Ling Xiao was extremely powerful. Although Ling Xiao's cultivation was not as high as his battle prowess was probably a level higher than his. For such a genius, as long as he didn't die, he would definitely become a peerless expert in the future. Xiongba already had thoughts of befriending him. I'm sorry, but the 5-colored divine dragon fruit is mine now that it's in my hands. Instead of thinking about the 5-colored divine dragon fruit, why don't you think about how to snatch the sage's inheritance? Ling Xiao said with a smile. With a wave of his hand, the 40 black iron warriors whose energy cores had been destroyed were kept in his small world. Humph. Long out, Yen, wait till I snatch the sage's inheritance, then I'll settle the score with you. Xiong Ba snorted coldly. He didn't want to fall out with Ling Xiao now, so he left behind a ruthless sentence and rushed into the palace in an instant. Jian Xia looked at Ling Xiao indifferently. His eyes were filled with a strong fighting spirit as he rushed into the palace as well. Let's go. Let's see what kind of surprise there is in this palace. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. I hope Lu Wenqing hasn't succeeded yet. Otherwise, if he obtains the treasure left behind by the Black Tortoise Sage and controls this side of the world, we'll be in danger. A trace of worry appeared in Qingting's eyes. Together with Ling Xiao, she quickly entered the palace. In the ancient palace, it looked extremely spacious and ordinary. An old man with white hair and beard, even his eyebrows were white. His face was clear and sparkling like a baby, and he was sitting cross-legged on a praying mat. Above the old man's head, there were 3 petals of the Great Tao floating. They were surrounded by mysterious runes and emitted fluctuations that made one's heart tremble. Within the 3 petals of the Great Tao, there were 3 treasures that were covered by mysterious runes. At that moment, Lu Wenqing was activating the power of the Black Tortoise Divine Armor. He wanted to break through the runes in the sky and obtain the 3 treasures. How did you guys come in? Those 40 black iron warriors were all killed by you guys? When Lu Wenqing saw Xiong Ba, Jian Xia, Ling Xiao, and Qingting enter the palace one after another, he was shocked. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Humph. Lu Wenqing, you want to stop us with just 40 black iron warriors? You want to take the sage's inheritance for yourself? You're courting death. Xiong Ba's eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at Lu Wenqing. The old man and the 3 treasures above his head also attracted everyone's attention. Could this old man be the Black Tortoise Saint? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. The saint taught the masses and comprehended the Saint Tao. They had already merged with the heavens and earth. Therefore, when the saint fell, the heavens and earth would sense it. Although the saint fell, the Saint Tao would continue to exist with the world. The Black Tortoise Saint in front of them had died many years ago. However, he was still vivid and lifelike. His body was flawless and he looked no different from a living person. As for the 3 treasures above his head, they were a black ancient sword, a golden scripture page and a palm-sized jade talisman. When Xiong Ba and Jian Xia saw the ancient sword and the golden scripture page, their eyes burned with passion. Even their breathing became hurried. This was because the 2 treasures emitted an incomparably pure Saint Tao aura. The black ancient sword was undoubtedly a saint treasure, and the golden scripture page was most likely a flawless saint technique. A flawless saint technique was extremely attractive to God King experts, not to mention Xiong Ba and Jian Xie. Ling Xiao's gaze landed on the jade talisman. This kind of jade talisman again? Ling Xiao's gaze trembled. This jade talisman was made of the same material as the one in his hand. Ling Xiao was sure that they were a single treasure. In just a split second, Ling Xiao was determined to obtain this jade talisman. Chapter 1248. When Lu Wenqing entered the palace, he wanted to use the power of the Black Tortoise Divine Armor to open the seal in the air and obtain the 3 treasures. However, he did not make it in time. Humph. You think you can do it? I am destined to inherit the Black Tortoise Saint's legacy. My Lu family has the bloodline of the Black Tortoise tribe. So what if you are here? You still can't obtain the Black Tortoise Saint's legacy. I advise you not to act rashly. Otherwise, you will all die. Lu Wenqing said unyieldingly. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Xiong Ba and Jian Xie's faces changed. They also remembered that the Lu family's ancestor in Dazzling Gold City did have the bloodline of the Black Tortoise tribe. However, it was extremely weak. If they were to talk about who could obtain the Black Tortoise Saint's legacy, Lu Wenqing would have the highest chance. Long Out Yen, look over there. Cheng Ting pointed behind the Black Tortoise Saint and said to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he saw a stone tablet. There were a few lines of small words carved on it. It looked extremely mysterious. I am Xian Kuan, the 3000th guardian elder of the Black Tortoise tribe. My descendants will send my saint body back to the Black Tortoise tribe in the demon world. The Xian Kuan sword and the 9 dragons and snakes will be my reward. In addition, the jade plate fragment will be sent back to the Black Tortoise tribe in exchange for one thing. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with understanding. This Black Tortoise Saint's original name was Xian Kuan. However, for some unknown reason, he had passed away here. He could not even leave behind a trace of primordial spirit. He could only leave behind words on the tablet. It was obvious that he had encountered an unimaginable enemy. It turned out that the Black Ancient Sword was called the Xian Kuan Sword and the Golden Scripture was called the 9 Dragons and Snakes Transformation. What shocked Ling Xiao even more was that the jade plate fragment that Xian Kuan had turned into could be exchanged for one thing from the Black Tortoise tribe. That was incredible. Perhaps in Xian Kuan's heart, the jade plate fragment was even more precious than the Xian Kuan Sword and the 9 Dragons and Snakes Transformation. Xiong Ba and Jian Xia also saw the message on the stone tablet and their eyes flashed with shock. Lu Wenqing, the fact that you have not obtained the 3 treasures means that the saint's legacy does not belong to you. Let's see if your divine Black Tortoise armor can save your life. Murderous intent flashed in Jian Xia's eyes as sword intent rose from his body. In an instant, he slashed his sword at Lu Wenqing. Rumble. The entire palace trembled as the snow-white sword light shone with unparalleled sharpness, causing Lu Wenqing's expression to change drastically. He did not think that Jian Xia would actually dare to make a move. Bastard, you're courting death. Lu Wenqing was furious. Killing intent flashed in his eyes. He instantly activated the Black Tortoise divine armor on his body. An incomparably terrifying Black Tortoise shadow appeared behind him. A huge palm print swept across the sky. It was like a heavenly pillar that contained the power to destroy everything. Boom! The snow-white sword light shattered and Jian Xia's expression changed. He could feel an unparalleled divine power surging towards him and he spat out a mouthful of blood as he was sent flying backwards. Half-saint treasure. Xiong Ba and Jian Xia's faces turned ugly. The Black Tortoise divine armor was a sage-level treasure. It was extremely powerful. Lu Wenqing would be invincible if he relied on this treasure alone. However, it was obvious that if Lu Wenqing wanted to activate the Black Tortoise divine armor, he would have to pay a huge price. Otherwise, why would he wait until now to make a move? He would have already unleashed his divine might and killed everyone. In the divine world, saints were invincible existences. The divine path was eternal and could enlighten all living things. Even divine king experts were like ants in front of a saint. Therefore, everyone's goal was to attain the divine path and become a saint. They all hoped that one day, they could become an invincible saint that could shake the entire heavenly region. Therefore, anything related to a saint was incomparably precious. Just like a sage-level treasure, it contained the might of a sage-level expert. It was not something that a true god expert could contend against. You want the saint's inheritance? Come on then. Let's see if you have the life to take it. Lu Wenqing shouted arrogantly. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. While he was confronting everyone, he was still activating the power of the Black Tortoise divine armor. He was slowly breaking the 3 runic barriers in the sky. He wanted to obtain the 3 treasures. As for what the Black Tortoise Saint had said, he did not take it to heart. In his opinion, the 3 treasures were the most important. As for the Black Tortoise Saint body, it was also a priceless treasure. It could be used to refine divine pills or even saint treasures. Long Out Yen, how about we join forces to kill Lu Wenqing first? He has the Black Tortoise divine armor on him. He is the biggest threat to us. After killing him, we will rely on our own abilities to obtain the Black Tortoise Saint's treasures. Xiongba's eyes flashed as he suddenly looked at Ling Xiao and asked. After the battle with the Black Iron Warrior, although Xiongba and Ling Xiao were still enemies, he could feel that Ling Xiao could be trusted. With just his and Jian Xie's strength, they might not be able to deal with Lu Wenqing. If they joined forces with Ling Xiao, they might be able to kill Lu Wenqing. Alright. Then let's kill him first. Ling Xiao agreed without any hesitation. Lu Wenqing was indeed the biggest threat. Perhaps they really needed to gather the strength of the four of them to defeat Lu Wenqing. You reckless fool. So what if you join forces? Since you want to die, then come at me together. Lu Wenqing's eyes were filled with crazy killing intent. He also hated Ling Xiao and the other three to the extreme. Rumble. The void trembled, and the divine energy around him rose. Blood qi filled the air, and under his control, the Black Tortoise divine armor also trembled slightly, as if it had come alive. It turned into a giant black tortoise shadow and pounced towards Ling Xiao and the others. Kill! Xiongba took the lead. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he threw a punch towards the black tortoise shadow. Blood qi filled the air around him and the shadow of the Overlord Divine Tiger appeared behind him. The Overlord Divine Tiger and the Black Tortoise were both ancient divine beasts. They were extremely powerful and the intense collision this time was extremely terrifying. If it weren't for the fact that the palace was sturdy enough, the collision would have caused the palace to shatter completely. Boom! The gigantic Sky Tyrant Divine Tiger and the Black Tortoise were fighting in the air. Terrifying fists were descending towards Lu Wenqing, but Lu Wenqing was actually standing there motionlessly. Xiongba seemed to have struck an indestructible mountain, and his entire body was sent flying backwards at an even faster speed. Bang! A mysterious sound shook the void, causing the huge palace to tremble slightly. Xiongba felt as if the blood in his body was boiling as he continued to pounce towards Lu Wenqing. Clang! Jian Xie attacked as well. The ancient sword in his hand was extremely sharp and it contained powerful sword Dao Law. It was as if a vast expanse of heaven and earth was pressing down on Lu Wenqing. It's the gravity law. What a strange sword Dao. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could see that the ancient sword in Jian Xie's hand was also a divine king weapon. However, what shocked him even more was that Jian Xie cultivated the gravity law. He could change the weight of his weapon at will. If it was light, it could travel thousands of miles with unparalleled speed. If it was heavy, it could suppress the heavens and destroy the earth. Chapter 1249. Ling Xiao and Cheng Ting naturally didn't stay idle and attacked as well. Skyfall Hammer. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a sharp light. His fist aura was vast and unparalleled, instantly exploding. Like a heavenly hammer, it contained the power to crush everything and directly smash towards the Black Tortoise divine armor on Lu Wenqing's body. Although the Black Tortoise divine armor was a sage-level treasure with unparalleled defense and contained an incomparably terrifying divine aura, Ling Xiao also knew that Lu Wenqing's cultivation was his weakness. He wouldn't be able to hold on for too long. As for Cheng Ting, she picked up a silver arrow and aimed at Lu Wenqing's eyes and other vital points, shooting out a silver divine rainbow. Rumble. The four geniuses instantly attacked at the same time, surrounding Lu Wenqing. If you can't break the defense of the Black Tortoise divine armor, you'll all die. Ha ha ha. Lu Wenqing laughed arrogantly, his eyes filled with a crazed killing intent. Black divine light surged around his body as the energy of the Black Tortoise divine armor enveloped the entire palace. It was as if some kind of runic power had been activated. Lu Wenqing just stood there, allowing Ling Xiao and the other three to attack him. Boom! Xiongba's terrifying fist landed on the Black Tortoise's shadow. An unparalleled divine power attacked him, causing him to fly back at an even faster speed. Jian Xie's ancient sword emitted rays of resplendent sword light, piercing through the void and slashing onto the Black Tortoise divine armor. A resplendent light exploded, but it was unable to leave a single mark on the Black Tortoise divine armor. Even the boundless laws of gravity were directly shattered by the black tortoise divine armor. Even the silver arrow that Qingting shot out, although it contained the power to pierce through everything, was directly shattered by a twisting force before it could even reach Lu Wenqing. In the end, it was Ling Zhao's Skyfall hammer, whose fist aura was unparalleled, that was able to resist the divine path aura emitted by the black tortoise divine armor. Clang! Ling Zhao pierced through the intertwining chaotic energy in the void, then his fist landed on the black tortoise divine armor. A terrifying force exploded, directly emitting a crisp sound. Lu Wenqing's expression could not help but change. This was because Ling Zhao's punch actually contained layers upon layers of divine energy, akin to a boundless tidal wave. Although it was unable to break through the black tortoise divine armor's defenses, it still managed to penetrate the armor, causing Lu Wenqing's body to tremble violently, as if he was struck by lightning. Bastard! How could this guy be so strong? What kind of fist technique is this? Lu Wenqing was shocked. Although the Skyfall hammer that Ling Zhao used was only a single move, it made Lu Wenqing feel an incomparably terrifying power. It actually contained some kind of saint path energy fluctuation. He did not dare to be careless and immediately smacked a palm towards Ling Zhao. Boom! Black divine light rose, and this palm of his seemed to contain a surging ocean. The vast power of water laws erupted, wanting to completely drown Ling Zhao within it. Star-picking hand. A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes. Instead of retreating, he sent out another palm strike. This palm strike seemed to have pierced through layers of void, arriving in the boundless starry sky. The palm strike was incomparably huge, grabbing towards the stars. Ling Zhao had once used the star-picking hand to shatter the energy core of a black iron warrior. The power of this move was extremely terrifying, as if it could break through countless dimensions, containing the ultimate killing power. Seeing that Ling Zhao had actually arrived in front of Lu Wenqing, Xiong Ba and Jian Xia were greatly encouraged, and they both used their strongest strength to rush over. Sky Tyrant Divine Body. Xiong Ba let out a loud roar. Golden qi and blood rose from his body, and all the muscles on his body swelled up. He let out an ancient and terrifying roar, as if he was a giant beast, and suddenly punched towards Lu Wenqing. The Sky Tyrant Divine Body was one of Xiong Ba's strongest trump cards. It was just that he was unable to completely control the power of the Sky Tyrant Divine Body, so he rarely used it. However, there was no need to doubt the power of the Sky Tyrant Divine Body. This time, Xiong Ba exploded with almost 10 times his combat strength, causing this punch of his to have an immortal feeling. Great Yin Yang Sword Qi. Jian Xia's eyes also flashed with sword light as he slashed his sword towards Lu Wenqing. The sharpness of his sword was terrifying to the extreme. One black and one white sword qi intertwined, and it spread out majestically, as if it had enveloped the entire heaven and earth. It contained a vast sword intent that could destroy everything. Lu Wenqing felt the terrifying qi intertwining in front of him, and his expression changed. He began to roar loudly, Black Tortoise Divine Armor, Annihilation Storm. He was also forced into a corner, and he immediately used the strongest killing move of the Black Tortoise Divine Armor. Rumble. The Black Tortoise Divine Armor trembled slightly, and the black tortoise in the sky roared towards the sky. Rays of divine light rose up, and the black tortoise's shadow pounced towards Ling Zhao, Xiong Ba, and Jian Xia, and suddenly exploded. It was as if it had broken down into the tiniest particles, and a terrifying annihilation storm was formed in an instant. The surrounding palaces trembled violently, and the annihilation storm was unparalleled, instantly enveloping Ling Zhao and the other two. In the distance, Qingting's expression changed drastically. Although she had shot out a few silver arrows, they were swept up by the annihilation storm, and instantly turned into dust. She had no choice but to retreat from the area of the palaces, because she knew that she would not be able to withstand the annihilation storm. I want to see if you can still survive this time. Lu Wenqing's eyes were filled with madness. Originally, he did not want to use the Annihilation Storm, because this move could easily weaken the Black Tortoise Divine Armor. However, in order to kill Ling Xiao, Xiong Ba, and Jian Xie, he had no choice but to use his ultimate move. Rumble. However, in the next moment, Lu Wenqing's expression changed. A terrifying holy light rose from Xiong Ba and Jian Xie's bodies, containing an incomparably strong defensive power. Although the two of them were incomparably miserable, they did not suffer any injuries. Damn it! A defensive holy treasure. Lu Wenqing's face was filled with unwillingness. Xiong Ba and Jian Xie were the princes of the Sky Tyrant Divine Nation and Sky Sword Divine Nation. Naturally, they would have many defensive treasures on them, which was why the Annihilation Storm did not kill them. Lu Wenqing's expression was somewhat ugly, and his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. If he did not completely kill the two of them, he was afraid that after he left, he would be hunted down endlessly by the Sky Tyrant Divine Tiger and Sky Sword Divine Nation. Therefore, the two of them must die. Whoosh! A golden ray of light flashed, and a vast devouring vortex appeared around Ling Xiao's body, dissolving all the Annihilation Storm. He had also escaped from the Annihilation Storm. Chapter 1250. Kacha. At this moment, the intertwining runes above the Black Tortoise Sage's head suddenly collapsed. The three treasures were instantly exposed in front of everyone. The saint's inheritance and treasures. Xiong Ba and Jian Xie's eyes lit up instantly. At this moment, how could they still be bothered to deal with Lu Wenqing? Instantly, they turned into streams of light and shot towards the sky. Xiong Ba and Jian Xie seemed to have a tacit understanding. Xiong Ba grabbed towards the 9 dragon snake transformations while Jian Xie grabbed towards the black Kuan sword. As for Ling Xiao, his speed was even faster. He even used the teleportation secret technique to directly grab the jade disc fragment. In his opinion, the jade disc fragment was the most precious treasure. Get out of my way. All the treasures are mine. The Black Tortoise Saint's inheritance is also mine. Lu Wenqing's eyes were filled with passion. However, when he saw Xiong Ba, Jian Xie, and Ling Xiao rushing towards him to snatch the treasures, he was instantly enraged. The Black Tortoise Divine Armor on his body emitted a bright light. Divine chains of order pierced through the void like black chains and quickly wrapped around Xiong Ba, Jian Xie, and Ling Xiao. At the same time, the Black Tortoise Divine Armor emitted a mysterious fluctuation. The golden scriptures, Black Kuan sword, and jade disc fragment seemed to be attracted by the Black Tortoise Divine Armor and flew towards Lu Wenqing. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and an ancient and savage aura was emitted from his body. He was like an ancient divine beast, terrifying to the extreme. It was as if the divine chains of order that were probing towards him had met their natural enemy, and they actually shattered in an instant. That was the aura of the Black Tortoise secret technique. Ling Xiao had already guessed that since Xian Kuan was the guardian elder of the Black Tortoise clan, the Black Tortoise secret technique would definitely have an incomparably mysterious effect on him. Ling Xiao had waited until now to use the Black Tortoise secret technique in order to snatch the 3 treasures. To be exact, he was snatching the jade disc fragment. At this moment, the Black Tortoise Saint's body also underwent a mysterious change. Rumble. The entire palace was trembling and a terrifying and vast energy fluctuation instantly gushed out. That was the aura of the Saint Tao. It was vast and mysterious, ancient and eternal. The Black Tortoise Saint suddenly stood up and his tightly shut eyes suddenly opened, revealing a trace of radiance. Whoosh! The Black Tortoise Divine Armor that Lu Wenqing was wearing suddenly exploded into black fragments and quickly merged into the Black Tortoise Saint's body, making him look even more mysterious and terrifying. No, Lu Wenqing roared. His eyes were filled with an unwillingness to accept this outcome. He did not even know what had happened. How did the Black Tortoise Saint come back to life? Furthermore, he had even taken away the Black Tortoise Divine Armor from him. Even Xiong Ba and Sword Evil's eyes were filled with disbelief. Outsider. Scram. The black tortoise saint's eyes flashed with a cold light. He instantly looked at Lu Wenqing, Xiong Ba, Jian Xia, and Cheng Ting. His voice was like thunder that exploded between heaven and earth. Rumble. With a wave of his sleeves, a gust of wind blew. Resplendent divine light enveloped the entire palace, and the void trembled violently. It was as though 4 resplendent rays of light had appeared and enveloped Lu Wenqing, Xiong Ba, Jian Xia, and Cheng Ting. Then, they disappeared from the palace. Finally, the black tortoise saint's gaze landed on Ling Xiao. There was a trace of excitement and also a trace of fear. Ling Xiao was also a little nervous. He said to the black tortoise saint, "Senior, why did you leave me behind?" Xian Kun had chased Lu Wenqing, Xiong Ba, Jian Xia, and Cheng Ting out, but he had left Ling Xiao behind. Although Ling Xiao guessed that it was because of the black tortoise secret skill, he was not sure. Moreover, Xian Kun's sudden resurrection gave Ling Xiao a shock. "I did not expect the wordless heavenly book to fall into your hands. Was it really the case of fate?" "Boy, what is your name?" Xian Kun sighed and looked at Ling Xiao calmly. "Senior, I am Ling Xiao." "Have you really come back to life?" Ling Xiao bowed respectfully. "Don't worry. I did not come back to life. I am just a remnant consciousness. Back then, in order to avoid a great enemy, I left a remnant consciousness in the black tortoise divine armor. Today, you used the black tortoise secret skill to awaken me." Xian Kun said slowly. "Senior, who is your great enemy?" "Senior, as the guardian elder of the black tortoise clan, you should be in the demon realm. Why are you in the great void secret realm? Could it be that there's some secret behind this?" Ling Xiao felt that Xian Kun did not have any hostility towards him. Although he was still cautious, he still asked curiously. "My enemy is naturally the hypocrites of the human clan. This is not the great void secret realm, this is the void realm." Xian Kun's eyes revealed a trace of sarcasm as he said coldly. "The void realm? A complete greater world like the divine realm?" Ling Xiao's body trembled, and a trace of disbelief appeared in his eyes. However, when he thought of the complete laws of heaven and earth in the great void secret realm and the systematic rune cultivation method, he could not help but believe it. "Boy, although you have gained the recognition of the wordless heavenly book, your strength is too weak. Knowing too much will not do you any good." Xian Kun obviously did not want to say too much to Ling Xiao. After thinking for a while, he continued, "This is not something you can participate in now. I would like to ask you for a favor." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said, "Senior, do you want me to send your divine body back to the Black Tortoise clan in the demon realm?" "I agree to this." "Oh. You agree so readily. Don't you want my treasures and inheritance?" Xian Kun looked at Ling Xiao with some surprise. "I will make a trip to the demon realm sooner or later. When the time comes, I will send your divine body back to the Black Tortoise clan. As for how to choose the successor of your treasures and inheritance, that is your own business. I have no right to ask." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Among the 3 treasures of Xian Kun, to be honest, only the jade disc fragment was attractive to him. The Xian Kun sword and the 9 transformations of dragons and snakes were not that attractive to him. "Boy, regardless of whether you are telling the truth or not, it is enough that you have the heart. I just want to return to my roots. You can take these 3 treasures, especially the jade disc fragment. Maybe you can find something." Xian Kun sighed softly, and his voice was a little bleak. "Senior, where did this jade disc fragment come from? I also have a similar jade talisman." Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he took out the jade talisman he had obtained. Chapter 1251. Buzz. The moment Ling Xiao took out the jade talisman, the jade disc fragment in the air flew over and fused with the jade talisman while trembling slightly. The new jade disc fragment looked sparkling and translucent, as pure and flawless as colored glass. It contained some kind of mysterious fluctuation, which made people feel indescribably comfortable. At the same time, a mysterious fluctuation was transmitted into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness, causing the wordless heavenly book to tremble slightly. The good fortune jade disc? Ling Xiao was shocked and said slowly. That's right. It is the good fortune jade disc. However, what you have is just a jade disc fragment. Xian Kun sighed and said slowly. Ling Xiao's body trembled. He had obtained the memory of the Scarlet Dragon god of war and naturally knew about the good fortune jade disc. According to legend, when the chaos was first separated and heaven and earth were created, the origin of this universe formed the 10 great chaotic treasures. The good fortune jade disc was one of them. It contained 3,000 great Tao rules and could connect life and death, yin and yang, and travel through the universe. It was extremely mysterious. The wordless heavenly book that Ling Xiao had obtained was also one of the 10 great chaotic treasures. Ling Xiao naturally knew the significance of the 10 great chaotic treasures. They were comparable to the legendary Supreme Emperor weapons and were even more mysterious than them. Ling Xiao had obtained the wordless heavenly book and was reborn. He had walked all the way from a small world to the vast divine world. Although the wordless heavenly book still contained many secrets, Ling Xiao knew how precious it was. Ling Xiao did not expect that the jade disc fragment in his hand was the good fortune jade disc fragment. The good fortune jade disc is a chaotic treasure. I'm afraid that even the legendary great emperors might not be able to break it. How could it be broken? Ling Xiao suddenly thought of a terrifying question. He could not help but tremble and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Xian Kun sighed and said, "You're right. The good fortune jade disc is indeed a chaotic treasure. However, what if several great emperors attacked at the same time? Great emperors swept across the universe and dominated the universe. They were eternal and indestructible. Other than time, there was nothing in the universe that they were afraid of. You also know that the master of this era was the human tribe. Therefore, the human tribe could occupy the divine world and dominate the universe. In the ancient times, the human tribe's 9 emperors appeared and pushed the human tribe's power to the peak. How powerful was the human tribe at that time? Even the myriad tribes of the universe had to retreat. Unfortunately, after the 9 emperors disappeared, the human tribe had not had a great emperor realm expert for tens of millions of years. Although the human tribe was world, the human tribe was in the universe, the human tribe was in the universe was dangerous. It wasn't until 10 million years ago that a peerless genius appeared in the human clan. Within 10,000 years, he broke through from a nobody to the legendary imperial emperor realm. He was only half a step away from the great emperor realm. He was the great void emperor and was also known as the symbol ancestor by the living beings in this world. What? Emperor Taishu is the symbol ancestor? Ling Xiao asked in surprise. He had seen the symbol ancestor worshipped by the symbol men, but he had never expected him to be the Emperor Taishu that Xian Kun had mentioned. That's right. The great void imperial emperor watched as the human race withered and was bullied by the other races in the universe. Many humans were even treated like slaves and dogs, and could only hide in the divine world. This was all because the human race had no new great monarch. The great void emperor had the fortune jade disc. His true strength was comparable to a great emperor's. However, he was still determined to become the arch through the Tao of talismans. He wanted to open up the void realm into a greater kiliacosm that would last for eternity and protect the human race. The demon race and many other races that are close to the great void imperial emperor have all come to the void realm to support him. Just as he was about to take the final step and become a monarch, a total of 9 great monarchs led by the demon monarch attacked. A shocking battle broke out between them and the great void monarch. What we hate the most is that the spy is actually an expert of the human race. They were afraid that the great void emperor would attain the Tao and become an emperor, so they didn't hesitate to collude with the other races to kill the great void emperor. That battle could be said to have caused the world to collapse, and the sun and moon lost their light. The void realm was naturally destroyed, and it was said that even the divine realm was destroyed. Billions of humans were captured by the other races and turned into food. Of course, we, the Great Void Emperor's followers, died in the battle. As Xian Kuan's low and angry voice sounded, Ling Xiao felt as if he could see the battle thousands of years ago. Blood flowed, tens of thousands of souls wailed, and the sky fell and the earth cracked. It was a hellish scene. Those traitors of the human race deserved to die. Ling Xiao could not help but clench his fists. His eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. It was because of those short-sighted bastards, because of those scumbags who only knew how to bully others in their own nest, that the human race was reduced to such a state even though they had the potential to become the ruler of this era. They had the glory of dominating tens of thousands of worlds and ruling over the 9 great monarchs. The demon race and the human race were on good terms. During the glorious era of the 9 great monarchs, we were allies who fought together. The demon race no longer had any hope of becoming a great monarch, so we naturally hoped that the human race would have a great monarch. Unfortunately, that battle was too tragic. Not only did the 9 great monarchs of the other races work together to kill the Great Void Emperor, but the human race also had a counterattack. Although the Great Void Emperor had unparalleled power and talent, and he had the Fortune Jade Disc, a Chaos Supreme treasure, in the end, he still died in a bloodbath. The Fortune Jade Disc shattered, and he died completely. Of the 9 great monarchs, he killed 3 of them with his life on the line, and severely injured 6 of them. That battle is also known as the Battle of Emperor's Fall. Xian Kuan's voice was filled with sorrow and nostalgia. It made Ling Xiao's blood boil. He wanted nothing more than to travel through time and personally participate in that battle. Those were great monarchs, eternal and invincible great monarchs who swept through the heavens. However, the Great Void Emperor had killed 3 great monarchs and severely injured 6 great monarchs. Such peerless battle prowess was unimaginable. If the Great Void Emperor had not insisted on becoming a great monarch, just this battle prowess alone would have been enough to make countless other races bow their heads and even lead the human race to glory. However, the regrets of history could not be made up for. Regrets could only be remembered and imagined by future generations. Ling Xiao suddenly thought about the Battle of Emperor's Fall millions of years ago. Did the War God Temple, the Supreme Tao Palace, the Sky Tyrant Divine Nation, the Sky Sword Divine Nation, and the Great Zhou Divine Nation not participate in it? Perhaps it had something to do with these 5 great forces. Otherwise, they would not have been able to control the Void Realm. However, the Great Void Realm had already been plundered by the saints once, but they did not find the fragments of the Fortune Jade Disc. Ling Xiao did not know if they really did not find it, or if they did it on purpose. On purpose. Chapter 1252. Ling Xiao felt as if there was a mysterious gaze watching the vast void realm from the void. I didn't want to talk to you about this. However, the Emperor can't die in silence. He was a hero of the human race and should be remembered by all humans. Someone should avenge him. Since you have the wordless heavenly book, I'm afraid you will walk the same path as the Emperor in the end. I only hope that when you have enough strength, you will kill all the scum and traitors of the human race and avenge the Emperor. Xian Kun looked at Ling Xiao seriously. Senior, don't worry. If I have the chance, I will not let those bastards go. Ling Xiao nodded seriously. After hearing about the Emperor Taishu's deeds, he also yearned for it. He wanted to follow the Emperor Taishu and conquer the heavens to bring peace to the human race. Even Xian Kun was willing to follow the Emperor Taishu. No matter what reason the traitors of the human race had, they should not ignore the human race's situation for their own selfish interests. Ling Xiao had seen the devil race in the lower realm. At that time, he knew that those who were not of the human race would have different intentions. When the human race fell into the hands of the devil race, they could only be reduced to food, pigs, and dogs. They were even worse than pigs and dogs. That kind of ending made people shudder. If we can avenge the Emperor, even if we die, we can die in peace. I will give you my Xian Kun sword and the 9 transformations of dragons and snakes. The good fortune jade disc is extremely precious. The Emperor Taishu died, but I feel that if you can collect the Good Fortune Jade Disc, you might be able to find the inheritance that the Emperor Taishu left in it. You have to work hard to collect the Good Fortune Jade Disc. It will be very beneficial to you. Xian Kun said with some relief. The light around him began to dim, like a candle flame in the wind that would be extinguished at any time. Thank you, Senior. I will definitely send your sacred body back to the Black Tortoise clan. Ling Xiao bowed deeply to Xian Kun and said seriously. Thank you. Xian Kun looked at Ling Xiao, and the light in his eyes dimmed. A mysterious light shot into Ling Xiao's forehead. Then, he closed his eyes, and the mark disappeared completely. Boom! It was a powerful torrent of information, and it contained some cultivation techniques in the Talisman Dao and the technique to control those puppets outside. Iron Warrior, Silver Warrior, and Gold Warrior. I've really struck gold this time. Ling Xiao sighed softly. He temporarily put aside the cultivation method of the Dao of Talismans, but the method of controlling the puppets made him extremely excited. Silver warriors possessed battle prowess comparable to celestial gods while gold warriors possessed battle prowess comparable to god kings. In other words, Ling Xiao had 9 silver-ranked warriors and 1 gold-ranked warrior. It was a pity that the rune bones were the energy cores of the silver-ranked warriors and gold-ranked warriors. If they left the Void Realm, they would not be able to replenish their energy with rune power. They would only be able to rely on the energy stored in the rune bones for a single attack before they ran out of energy. However, according to the techniques imparted to me by Senior Xian Kun, I should be able to find a suitable energy core after I leave the Void Realm after cultivating the Dao of Talismans. At that time, they will be able to unleash powerful combat strength. However, in the Void Realm, my golden warriors are invincible. Ling Xiao exclaimed in amazement. However, when Ling Xiao saw Xian Kun's body in front of him, he felt a little complicated. Even though he knew that Xian Kun had died a long time ago and that what he had just talked to was only a trace of Xian Kun's primordial spirit imprint, he still felt a little emotional when he thought about how the last person who had witnessed the Battle of Emperor's Fall had also disappeared. The Xian Kun sword. It's indeed a good sword. Ling Xiao picked up the Xian Kun sword and sighed softly. The Xian Kun sword in his hand was pitch black and emitted a strange light. It contained a majestic Saint Path aura that made Ling Xiao tremble slightly. The Saint Path aura was eternal and incomparably vast. Ling Xiao guessed that Senior Xian Kun was not an ordinary saint. Even among saints, he was considered one of the strongest. After all, those who were qualified to follow the Great Void Emperor must be extremely powerful. The Xian Kun sword is a treasure of the Black Tortoise tribe. I'll borrow it for a while and will definitely return it when I return to the Black Tortoise tribe. Ling Xiao said slowly before putting away the Xian Kun sword. The Xian Kun sword's power was extremely terrifying. It was a true killing treasure. Ling Xiao was like a tiger that had grown wings after obtaining this sword. His strength had skyrocketed. The most important thing was that gold warriors were different from silver warriors and black iron warriors. They had internal spaces that could be entered and controlled. Ling Xiao was already imagining entering the gold warrior's space and slaughtering everyone with the Xian Kun sword. At that time, he would not even be afraid of a true divine king. After all, in the Void Realm, with the replenishment of runes, a gold warrior would not be afraid of running out of energy and could continue fighting. Finally, Ling Xiao picked up the page of the Golden Scripture, 9 transformations of dragons and snakes. Boom! As Ling Xiao's primordial spirit imprinted on the scripture, a majestic torrent of information immediately merged into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness. Ling Xiao felt as if he had arrived at the beginning of the ancient era. In the vast chaotic void before him, a huge black tortoise with a dragon head and a tortoise body appeared. It was like a continent floating in the endless chaos, exuding an ancient and majestic aura. The so-called dragon snake referred to the black tortoise. The black tortoise had the ferocity of a dragon and the flexibility of a snake. It could fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. It could carry all living things. The circulation of yin and yang, the combination of movement and stillness, had reached a certain peak in the black tortoise's body. The 9 transformations of dragons and snakes was the supreme martial art of the black tortoise. In general, it was a body-refining martial art. It contained the Tao of yin and yang. When cultivated to the peak, one could become a sage. In Ling Zhao's opinion, the 9 transformations of dragons and snakes could be considered the most powerful martial art of the black tortoise tribe. It was even more powerful than Ling Zhao's 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique. The 10,000 dragons god-slaying technique was only a half-step sage martial art. It was not a true sage martial art. The 9 transformations of dragons and snakes was a true sage martial art. It had to be said that the martial art of the 9 transformations of dragons and snakes was very beneficial to Ling Zhao. Not only could it increase his combat strength, but it could also allow him to see the extreme changes in his physical body. It allowed him to gain a deeper understanding of the power of his physical body. Ling Zhao had a kind of ambition. He wanted to walk a path that no one had ever walked before. He wanted to become a sage with his physical body. Just relying on the secret technique of the ancestral dragon was not enough to let him walk the path of becoming a sage with his physical body. He still needed to learn from other people's strong points and continue to accumulate knowledge. He needed to unlock the mysteries of his physical body and open up his own small world to obtain powerful strength.